Good evening. I would like to call to order the Kaiser City Council in regular session. It is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councilor Parsons?
Here.
Councilor Kohler?
Here.
Councilor Cross?
Here.
Mayor Clark?
Here.
Council President Starr?
Here.
Councilor Christopher?
Here.
Councilor Dran?
Here.
And our youth counselor is not here tonight?
I believe she'll be arriving late.
Should be, I'm sorry?
Arriving late.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. All right, I would invite all of you who are able to rise and all join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It is now my great pleasure to turn this over to Chief Copeland for the promotion of Scott Keniston to Sergeant. Chief?
Yes. Come on up, Scott. So if you have not met Scott Keniston, this is Scott Keniston. He's been with the Kaiser Police Department for 18 years. As part of that 18 years, he's done a lot of really cool things in his career. I think one of his biggest influences he has and kind of his legacy is going to be with our cadet program that he will continue to work with. He's developed and mentored numerous cadets over the many years. He's currently and has been a police canine officer for us. So this is his third dog-ish. So there's an ish in there, but that's fine. He's a field training officer, which means as new officers come into the department, he trains them. What else do? You do lots of really cool stuff. But I think he's a McNary grad. He has been in Kaiser his whole life. He's raising two amazing young men and is married to an amazing school teacher. They just give back to the community. He's a coach. So outside of law enforcement, he's what we want as a cop. We try to hire people like Scott Keniston. Like I said, 18 years ago, he started with us, and he's been amazing ever since. And it's all about timing and the right time to get promoted, because you can't do all the really cool things like go back to beyond SWAT or to get another canine once you get promoted. You have to kind of run a team and a little more responsibility. So he's kind of run that course to the point where he's ready to lead other men and women on a patrol team. So he's wanting to be a patrol sergeant for us, which means 12-hour shifts. He's on day shift right now, but he'll do 6 months days and 6 months nights. And he's primarily been a night officer with the canine for many, many years. So it's good to see his face in the daytime. I could keep going. The process that he went through was amazing. And those who were sitting on the panel, there's some in the room here, it was one of the toughest promotion process we've had because we have such great people at Kaiser Police. He competed against 3 other folks, and any one of them could do the job. It's just Scott's time, so he's going to do amazing. We really look forward to him, and he's well respected in the community, well respected by his peers and by everybody here at the police department. So congratulations to you, Scott. This is a big moment in history, and you couldn't do it alone. You have an amazing support group at the house, and I would love for Michelle to come up and be the one to pin this badge on him. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
speech?
So, you guys, here's the city of Kaiser. So they let me do stuff like this, I don't know why.
Perfect.
Everybody happy? That's it? Very much.
So Scott, I know you didn't want to give a speech, but love to be able to point out folks in the room, family, friends, that you would like to maybe say a brief word. We've gotten to meet your wife and your kids. Who else is here with you tonight?
My wife and 2 kids. I have my mother, stepdad, grandparents, aunt, uncles, good friends, coworkers, in-laws. In-laws are here. So, yeah, just a bunch of family and friends supporting.
Well, for folks who are watching, I know you can see on the television screen that you just switched sides, so you can switch the angle back, that this room is filled to support you. We as a city council support you, we as a city support you and a community. And we thank you for the incredible service that you have provided till now, and you will continue to provide for the people of Kaiser. Congratulations, Sergeant Scott Kennison. We have a second recognition tonight, and that is for our Human Resources Director, it says Emeritus. Yes, she has been serving in that role since Garrett Cleaver joined the city staff, but it's our opportunity tonight to recognize extraordinary career of Michelle DePina, who has retired as our Human Resources Director. When she came on, was hired by the city, she had a lot of work to do to organize, put together, bring a level of professionalism to our human resources that we really needed, and she did that and then some. So it's truly my pleasure tonight to present to Michelle DePina, our City Human Resources Director, in grateful appreciation for your 16 years of service to the City of Kaiser, our well wishes for your retirement, and our sincere thanks for an incredible career and all the work you have done to raise the profile of human resources here in the City of Kaiser. Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle DePina. Absolutely, you know the drill. We have the little sign and everything. We don't know what city we're in.
Okay, so you're not happy about retirement?
I would say giddy. Giddy. Yeah. Thank you, Michelle. Well, thank you all so much for these two very special moments. We celebrating the accomplishments, the achievements of the people who provide services to us in the community as staff members, team members for the City of Kaiser, and we can't thank them enough. With that, we're going to go to committee reports, and I'd like to start off with actually, I'd like to provide courtesy to Chief Blanco. I know that would usually come under public comment, but I'd like to bring him up now to check in with us on what's happening with our partner down the street. That would be the Kaiser Fire District. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Madam Mayor, thank you for allowing me to come to the line here and come up front. We congratulate the Kennison family as well, and the Kaiser Police Department. You got a good guy. Probably don't know, but he was a fireman for Kaiser as well.
Yeah.
He was a volunteer firefighter for 2 years.
Is the microphone on?
Microphone.
Until he got himself,
Is the red light on?
no, it is now.
Perfect.
Until he got himself straightened out and became a police officer. So we do lose some good ones once in a blue moon, so, but congratulations to the city and Kaiser. So I'll go ahead and start off with our call numbers. For December, we had 604 calls, 6 fire calls, 490 EMS calls, 43 service calls, and 65 either false alarm, CO, or alarms. For the year of 2024, we had 7,096 calls. So that's quite a bit out of one fire station for those guys. You can kind of do the math, divide it by a month, and they were pretty busy. Any questions on the calls?
I've got one. You talked about fires and Emery Storms. The deputy fire marshal has done some wonderful presentations on not being distracted when one is cooking. And I was just wondering if you knew what types of fires these were recently, if they were that or other incidents.
I do not have that information with me. I'm just giving the data as far as the entire call, but
Okay.
if you'd like to, I could probably look into that and bring back something next time I come in as far as break it down a little bit more for you.
Yeah, I think it's really helpful for folks to be aware of where we can maybe be not one of those fires.
Yeah, I know through the community risk reduction data, dryer fires and cooking fires were the largest ones or the most highest percentage, but there could be others that are going on right now. There's not a lot of people barbecuing right now, only the big pros are out there doing that because of the weather. So I would probably lean towards either a kitchen fire or a dryer vent fire where people aren't maintaining their dryer vents. So.
Thank you.
I'll move forward with the distinctive response. So again, Kaiser Kaiser had left on January 8th as a regional team with the Southern California. The word we got today is they may be demobilizing by Friday. If they don't call them up to San Diego, they'll have one day off and they'll head home. They could be home this weekend or they could be heading to San Diego. We really won't know until Friday for sure. Just a reminder that the Oregon team was made up of 15 strike teams. There were 300 firefighters and 75 engines that went to California to help with the Cal fires. And I did hear a rumor that there was some already in San Diego, but I can't be factual with that. The team continues to patrol hotspots, working alongside Cal, state agency, federal agencies, just mopping up behind them. As you can see in videos and in photos, the fire would jump houses and burn areas around houses and leave some houses but burn others down. So basically what they do is they come in and mop up that area so we don't have any rekindles once the winds pick up on those structures that weren't burned or any kind of trees or bushes that are left that weren't burned, and then just basically clean up as they go. So any questions on that?
No, but a huge thank you. I think most people know that Los Angeles is my hometown, and really appreciate everybody who has been down there to help all the people in that area and in this catastrophic event.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate the guys down there, but also the individuals who are covering them while they're gone and working double, triple shifts behind them while they're up. There's only about 40-something of us, so when you take out 5, it definitely makes a difference on calls. So we appreciate them as well. Another reminder on Defensible Space Grant that Kaiser, Almsville, and Marion County are still running. If you have questions about whether your house is safe in the exterior-wise, whether it's debris, a wood pile, overgrown bush, or even if you have acreage of woods, trees, anything that you have that could cause an issue, you can call 971-304-5353, and the Marion County individual who's managing our grant will come out with his team and take a look. They have done quite a bit of work in Salem, Kaiser area, Polk County as well, but most of it in Salem. We were at the Mid-Valley Home Show last weekend. We had a table there of information. It was right during the fire, so those guys got hammered by questions and information that they put out, but they're doing a good job managing that grant. Our next car seat clinic our last one was January 14th. Our next one is going to be on March 11th. Once again, that is from 3 to 6. If you have interest in a seat or if you just would like some information, you can call 971-707-0472 and set up an appointment or schedule for a seat. General information, unless you have questions, and I'll wrap up. Some general information is we're currently recruiting for non-response volunteers. Applications can be found on the website, and that's just to help us with some things similar to the home show where you would just hand out information, any kind of function or city or school function that's happening. On community risk reduction, this is pretty good news. We've partnered up with the Northwest Senior and Disabilities. They run an ADRC program. So if you just type in ADRC, it takes you to the Aging Disability Resource Connection. And it provides our seniors in Polk County and Marion County with numerous resources, from funding to healthcare to just someone to talk to. So it's a great partnership, we believe, and we're looking forward to using them and utilizing them. We were told by the CSOCs, I think everybody's familiar with what a CSOC is, that they have been using our resources, so we're pretty happy with that. With that, we've also partnered with the Northwest Human Services. They're the 988 helpline hub here in Polk County and Marion County. They're going to be managing all the resources that we put together, so any resource that we gathered along the way has been turned over to them, and you can find their website. And basically, they have hundreds and hundreds of resources for our community. We've shared theirs with police. We had planned to do a presentation to the police chiefs and fire chiefs. We're actually doing the fire chiefs on next week. And then we got bumped for the police chiefs to February 12th because our presenter had a little accident. She fell on the stairway, but she's fine. So I appreciate Chief Copeland connecting me with the chiefs, and they reached out and they are interested in what we have to provide them. So we'll give them a little bit of insight on the community risk reduction and then show them the resources and how it can work in their community, and continue to hand out information so we can continue to help our community. We've done 10 home visits in Kaiser where we provided resources, some safety parameters, and some information just to try to assist them with their resources. So we're pretty excited about the way it's coming out. So unless you have questions,
There are no questions. Again, a huge thank you. This community risk reduction program is innovative, and I really appreciate the work that you have put in leading this effort and helping all of us connect with even more resources so we can help one another. Thank you so much for all the work.
thank you for having me.
All right,
Should I shut this off or just leave it on?
go ahead and leave it on.
Okay.
That way we don't have to worry about it when the next
Do the other
person
one,
comes
too,
up.
just Get it in stereo.
All right. Thank you so much. Matt Lawyer. Parks, planning, civic center cleanup, all the things.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Council, for the record, Matt Lawyer, Parks. And with your indulgence, I do have a guest here that is happy to potentially answer any questions that the council may have. Parks Board allowed me to be chair for a second year in a row, which is kind of cool. Super excited to do that. We've got a great Parks Board and people that are dedicated and putting in the hard work. We switched up our parks this year. We do that every year for those of you that may not remember or the uninitiated. So every year we rotate 2 parks that we all go and kind of keep an eye on and bring back reports and, Robert is up to date as possible, but generally he already is very well aware by the time we actually get to come back with it. The most substantive thing that occurred at our meeting earlier this month was the consideration of a grant for the Kaiser Gold Star Family Memorial Monument. This is obviously a project that you are all aware of. We've been putting a lot of work into it. I saw a great post from Councilor Christopher today where she went out there and took some pictures, and we saw Randy Miller in action, which is super rare, by the way, to get him in a photo that goes out on social media. So congratulations on that one. But ultimately, the group is asking for $10,000, and the board is recommending approval with a caveat, and the caveat is we are asking the council to allow an exception to policy, in that the policy generally requires that the project is complete and the reimbursement occurs upon completion. In this case, the board is recommending, requesting of the council to consider that money to go up front. The reason ultimately is the March 1st deadline, which is to have 50% of the funds in hand in order to order the monument to make our September timeframe. I can tell you that the fundraising efforts are very, very strong right now. There's some things occurring in the background from some people that are really dedicated to bringing a lot to the table in the next probably 60 days. Meanwhile, this gentleman right here has been to almost every single business dropping these off. In fact, I think we probably get at least a half a dozen updates a couple times a day where he's like, I dropped it off here and I dropped it off here and I dropped it off here. So thank you for doing that. But ultimately, that's the board's recommendation to the council, and we are happy to answer any questions that you all may have related to our recommendation.
Thank you very much. What I'd like to do is, Mr. Brown, as far as process goes for the council then providing approval for doing this grant as an advance rather than as a reimbursement. As I understand it, we would need to suspend the rules to take up the matter and make that recommendation since there is a timeliness factor, unless the council would like to just see this come back at our next meeting, which would be February 3rd, I believe. Is there a timeliness issue here where we need to do this tonight?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't think there's a timeliness issue. It could, we were planning on bringing it back at the February 3rd
Okay.
meeting.
So that would be sufficient time, Mr. Lawyer, in order to make sure you have sufficient funding by the March, we're looking at March 1st deadline, correct?
Yeah, March 1st, Madam Mayor, is frankly a very aggressive timeframe. It's actually April 1st, but if I say April 1st, then it'll be in mid-May, and I just want to...
It's the Scotty methodology, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, March 1st is our intended goal, so we make sure we get all the Ts dotted and Is crossed, or reverse that, or however that's supposed to go.
Yeah, Ts and Is, we want to make sure
Right.
that we have all of those properly done. Counselor Christopher?
What are you doing with all those big rocks, Matt?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I know.
You know, Mark, the problem with this project is Mark Callier's having too much fun.
Yes.
And it's a great thing,
They
right?
all are.
It's given him something to do. I'm sure that his wife is very pleased that he's gone a lot.
Bonus.
I'm kidding, but, you know, ultimately, I think that we're going to repurpose them. There's some opportunities that Robert and I have talked about in terms of trying to relocate them strategically at Kaiser Rapids Park to continue to dissuade knuckleheads from doing donuts out on our really nice grass. And ultimately, there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of material there, and I think that, you know, what we've proven, particularly with the mount chip that occurred when we did the pour-in-place surface, we reused, I would say, probably all of that material in our parks as appropriate. I know I did at least 3 projects with youth where we brought in that material and replaced the fall surfaces at 3 of the parks. So my guess is Robert's can be very creative, and we will find appropriate ways to use that throughout our park system.
Well,
Follow up?
Mark's Mighty Men, Collier can round them up. One of them was my husband today, and he was pretty excited
I
to
didn't
be
see Ron.
playing with big machines and moving rocks. And so all of those rocks are being stored
Yep.
out at the back of the park till they decide where to place. And they're giant.
They're huge.
They are giant rocks. So that's a great idea. They're going to look terrific. They're going to look very Pacific Northwest.
Yes. And what's going to happen with the stump, I'm stumped, I don't know.
Well, yeah. What is going to happen with that?
My guess is it's going to have to come out because it's going to be level there, I would imagine.
It's
So-
huge.
But I think there's enough stuff that's intertwined in that with the infrastructure for the previous fountain that I think if you rip it out, chances are you're going to have some unintended consequences, potentially electrical, water. Who knows what's in there? I've heard something about Jimmy Hot, anyways.
Maybe we'll find that train. That might be underneath there after all.
Maybe it's the train.
Yep, there's the train. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lawyer, I missed the name of your friend.
You're right. This is Andrew, and I want to say Hemingway? Correct. Hemingway. And Andrew is part of the Kaiser Gold Star Committee. Kevin Dial knows him and vouches for him, so that instantly
Wow.
adds street cred, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear from Andrew?
Just thank you for what you're doing, and I'd love to hear if you have anything to add, but I just wanted to say thank you for your work and volunteerism.
Thing on.
Make sure the red light is on.
So basically, I grew up mostly in Kaiser. I went to Clear Lake, to Whitaker, to graduated McNary. I'm still residing in Kaiser right now. I'm just happy to make sure that the Gold Star families are being reminded that they are not forgotten. I knew Ryan Hill personally. He was a good friend of my brother and sister. So I just, being myself, I couldn't help but enlist in the Oregon National Guard, and I really want to make sure that those brothers and sisters in uniform, their families are reassured that their loss is not forgotten, that their loss is actually appreciated, and no amount of words can basically be conveyed to say that that loss is more than enough for what we have today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we will see that on our February 3rd agenda to move the grant forward for consideration based on your recommendation.
Fantastic. Thanks, Andrew. You can just hang out if you want. I got to talk about planning stuff now, but also, Lisa's still the vice chair, which is great. Lisa Sjeka, Kaiser Rapids is caretaker / frequent walker / all things Kaiser Rapids. So glad to have Lisa around. Good on parks. Can I switch gears?
All right, anything else on parks? Switcheroo?
Great. All right, Planning Commission. And I may have to phone a friend on Shane on this one. The reason is I didn't get the minutes because I told Commissioner Lopez I'd punt for him since I was already going to be here. But a couple issues came up. One, looked at the work plan, and Shane's got identified some really good work for us to look at over the course of the next year. Some of it's things that we have to do. Some of it's things that we may want to do. I don't think the city attorney has any more oh gotchas, which is pretty fun. That's kind of why we're in this conversation today, which is wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. We've got some potentially big projects that are going to kick off this year as well with the TSP, if that actually gets rolling, transportation system plan. We're continuing to unravel the climate-friendly and equitable communities thing. It's a very complicated thing with math that I can't even begin to understand. It's all very theoretical. But we're maintaining good communications with Marion County and the city of Salem. By we, I mostly mean Shane and Councilor Duran. And I think, Mary, you're on that committee as well, the work group. So there's been at least one meeting around the scenario planning and not much sense. And so we're kind of stuck in this, what's going to happen to us, not for us type situation. So it's a wait and see. But substantively, we got into some discussion, and this was around the Planning Commission rules, particularly as it relates to a couple of items. And the first item that I think is probably low-hanging fruit and very easy to deal with was the makeup of the Planning Commission, specifically around the idea of the opportunity of having a non-Kaiser resident being on the Planning Commission. And historically, most boards and councils and most boards and committees allow for one non-resident to be on that in the event that nobody applies, right? In two cases, one previously on the Parks Board, in the current case, we have a non-resident on the Parks Board. As it relates to the Planning Commission, ultimately, I think with the Planning Commission, I initially didn't discuss it because it's like, it's fine. But we got into the conversation a little bit, and I think that what we determined, and Shane, this is where I may need your help, I think ultimately we determined that it have to be a Kaiser resident, an individual Kaiser property owner or an individual Kaiser business owner. And what we mean by that is, we don't want Acme Co. to have a piece of property in Kaiser and then be able to send an emissary to be on the Planning Commission. And it would need to be Joe Smith that owns Acme Co. coming in and being on the Planning Commission. So it'd have to be an individual, a very identifiable person. And again, I think that the The reality of it is, these opportunities don't come up often. I've never heard yet of a non-resident person wanting to come on planning commission, and I've been doing it for almost 8 years. And the volunteer coordinating committee is quite adept at making sure we're getting really good volunteers. And so my guess is it would flesh itself out. But ultimately, I think the qualifying criteria landed on the individual property owner and the individual business owner could be a non-resident. One. That's it. No more than one. Did I get that right, Shane?
Yeah, that was the recommendation from Planning Commission.
I'm going off memory. I'm proud of myself right now. And then there was another one that was kind of low-hanging fruit, if I remember right, Shane. It was the cancellation of the minute, or there was 3 total that we voted on, right?
Yes, there was the residency requirement, the term limits, and then the other one was just for calling a special meeting or canceling a meeting.
Right, which is like kind of a no-brainer. Yes, we will do that, right? Especially considering we decided as a planning commission, we really want to do extra work. As it relates to the term limits. So, guilty, I asked the question, why do we have them? I looked around at other jurisdictions, most jurisdictions, in fact, none that I could find actually have term limits for planning commissioners who said, why does this exist? I went out and had conversations with former planning commissioners, including former city councilor Bruce Anderson, former city councilor Mark Collier, who both termed out as planning commissioners. And I talked with Gary Whalen, also a city councilor, former city councilor and termed out planning commissioner. And I asked him, I said, what are your thoughts on this? And I think that they have the historical perspective to kind of look back and understand how and why we got there. It all made sense on how we originated that. Part of that was because I think Salem at the time did it. And it made sense as we were evolving as a city and kind of getting our feet underneath ourselves. We wanted to make sure to have the right people for the right amount of time with all of the things that would occur as a developing city. So ultimately, we did recommend no term limits. We heard back from the council that, let's rethink that a little bit. And I'm going to be kind of the thorn in the side, and I will totally admit to that. When I heard that there was an opportunity to potentially do 3 4-year terms or 3 3-year terms, I said, well, let's make the math equal. Why don't we just say 4 3-year terms? And the planning commissioners were like, yeah, it seems to make, 12 is 12, right? Regardless, I don't think anybody is going to die on this hill. I think ultimately what we are looking for is continuity and consistency. We've got a good planning commission, but we have a young planning commission. What I mean by that is I think our average age on the planning commission is less than 2 years. Okay, when you take out Commissioner Grants and myself. That's not a bad thing. I think fresh perspective is necessary, but Councilor Duran and I are the only ones that were around when we did the River Terry Overlay District. And the only reason he's still around is because he's council liaison. And so that perspective and that opportunity to kind of look back and understand that is really important. Thankfully, we have Shane. But, we had Nate. So I removed a planning director and I removed a whole bunch of planning commissioners. Thankfully, I still have Councilor Duran to say, yeah, that's how we got there. And so, if it's the council's purview, if you guys are comfortable with 3 4-year terms or 3 3-year terms, great. It's not a hill I don't think anybody on the planning commission is going to die on. I think we're just looking for opportunities, but also recognizing that we have a great volunteer coordinating committee, we have a great council, and you all are willing to look in and say, gosh, it's really time that we need to get some fresh blood. And it's perfectly okay. So that's it, and I don't think we have anything else, right? Great. I feel like that's pretty good off memory. Thank you, Shane, for helping me. Appreciate that. Mr. Lindsay, thank you.
Okay.
Questions, comments, thoughts, Madam Mayor?
Questions? All right, and this is, for folks who are following along at home, this is item 8E on our agenda tonight, that we will be considering the changes to the Planning Commission, amending Kaiser Code Section 2.123 and 2.1, or -124. So stay tuned for that. Or not.
I'm going to add one little question mark. I have seen in the past, if you are going to establish term limits, maybe there's an or until filled, and I don't know if that's applicable or not. The only reason I ask that is sometimes you have a lot of gaps, and if you end up needing a quorum, that might be worth considering. But that was not part of the Planning Commission's deliberation or decision. I'm just adding that as a side note because I have seen that. So if it means the Planning Commissioner have to stay on for another extra month while the position is being filled, maybe that's a consideration, but that's probably just an administrative function with either Melissa or Dawn, so.
Thank you for that recommendation. I appreciate it. I just made a note of it for us to discuss under our deliberations. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Great.
Okay,
Last thing, March 15th,
okay.
Civic Center cleanup. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's our annual event. It's sponsored by Rotary and Clyde Creek Watershed Council. We will be out here and getting going at 9 a.m. We hope folks start showing up at 8. You'll get in, you'll sign up, you'll do your waiver form. This is a super fun event. The last 3 years, I think we've completely filled the debris bin, and they're, I would say, 30 yards of debris. You know, we had last year a whole bunch of people and it went great. We've been averaging about 100, 105 usually over the course of the day. And we're really hoping that we can keep that 150 kind of goal to get a bunch of folks out there. I know I see a lot of you throughout the day and I'm very appreciative of that. But there will be work that happens the Friday before. They go out, volunteers will go out and they'll trim the hedges and they'll kind of get everything prepped. But that Saturday, the 15th, rain or shine or snow, we will be out there getting things tidied up and making our wonderful block here just absolutely gorgeous. And so the work doesn't stop then. There's leaf blowing and stuff. There's, I think last year we were in the parking lot for the better part of about 4.5 hours leaf blowing because it had rained the night before and it was a little bit tough to blow somewhat wet dust. It was almost like, anyways. But yeah, March 15th, that's going to be great. I'll have lots of opportunity to talk about that between now and then, but I just kind of wanted to get on everybody's radar early so that you're putting in your calendar and love to see you out there. It was great seeing Adam out there with his family last year. And, you know, for those of you that may not know, Mr. Wood tends to go run like a half a marathon that morning. He comes back and then he spends the entire time in the trash bin. And when he gets out, I mean, he puts Papa to shame. He's swole. It's pretty cool. But yeah, no, I mean, he's all over it. And so I do need a new trash. Actually, Chief last year, you were in the trash bin after we had to go get somebody taken off a piece of property. But you were, you and Tim were hustling. So I'm glad to have you back next year or this year doing it. Appreciate you.
All right, March 15th. Be ready to go by 9 a.m. and we have cookies. All right.
All right.
Thank you all very much. Is there anyone else here to give a committee report? I don't have anybody else signed up, so thank you for that. Item 8A is Municipal Judge Evaluation and Council Assignments. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. This is an item that you discussed previously, and the city attorney worked with you to revise the form and content. And so now it is your privilege to accept volunteers among the council to evaluate the judge and with the new process, new form.
All right, thank you very much. We're looking forward to counselors who would like to volunteer to do that this year for 2025. I've got Parsons and Kohler. Okay, have said they would do that for 2026. I know that's a long time from now, but are there two that would like to sign up now? That would be Cross and Star. Okay. Thank you very much. And I would like to note that I do have a letter here that has been received from MWAC, the Mid-Willamette Area Commission on Transportation, asking for our appointee, and they'd like to have that by January 28th. So we'll need to get that name submitted this evening in our process for committee assignments and so forth. So I want to make sure that we're aware that we do have that request. We've also gotten the same request from the Salem-Keizer Area MPO, SCATS. We need to get that in because that next meeting is next Tuesday. So want to make sure we're aware of that. Okay. All right, let's go on to public comment. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for public hearing. We have 2 public hearings scheduled for this evening. One is a resolution forming Clear Lake Commons Street Lighting Local Improvement District, and the other is the OLCC application change of ownership off-premises liquor license U.S. Market 1025. If you're here for that, stand by. And before we go to spoken comment, I would like to acknowledge for the record that we have 3 letters that have been submitted. That would be from Ramiro Navarro, resident of Kaiser, voting rights concerns and request for a remedy. And City Manager, I believe this has been referred to legal. Is that correct?
Madam Mayor and Council, yes, that's correct.
Thank you. Jane Herb, a resident of Kaiser. This was an additional email regarding fluoride removal. And as I recall, the City Council has made the decision to move forward with a town hall on this issue this spring. Is that correct, Councilor Duran? You were the one who brought this forward.
Yeah, I believe that was the decision. I don't know if it's been scheduled yet, but.
Okay. So that is scheduled for sometime this year that we will have the town hall on this issue.
Yes.
Okay, so she included a great deal of additional information, as we did request that she turn in what she was referring to in her in her public testimony. And then Tammy Kunz, resident of Kaiser, safety awareness update and survey results. And this is a follow-up on this is on the December 10th event, correct? So this is a follow-up to let us know how that went and the feedback from the community on that event, which many of us did attend. So thank you much for that. Want to acknowledge those for the record. Okay, under public comment, Lisa Sajeka. Going to talk to us about Ziply.
I am. Good evening, Mayor, City Councilors, staff. Oh, yay, the light's on. I just wanted to take a minute because a lot of times people come up here with their public comment and they have things to complain about. When we heard about Ziply and some of the experiences of different parts of the city, I was concerned. And when I came to my cul-de-sac and found some delightful public work members sitting there that tried to escape before I got to their truck because the locators had been out. So there was all sorts of hieroglyphics all over. And he's like, we didn't do it. But they said that Ziply was coming. So Ziply is coming is kind of like winter is coming. It made me very, very stressed. There were little flags all over people's yards. It was crazy. There was a door hanger. We came and one day, there were so many workers. They did a fabulous job. Everybody's yard was dug up, but every shovelful of dirt was put on a tarp. They put all of the grass back. They saved the dead leaves from my oak tree and put it back over the grass where it was. Had I not known they were there, I wouldn't have known they were there. They did such a great job. And I just wanted it out into the universe that it wasn't as bad as we thought. The doom and the gloom, at least with the crew, they did an amazing job. So I was just very happy with it. I know it's not the city's deal, but I know that the city has taken some calls and some heat, and we've talked about it 3-4 dozen times. I just wanted to say, on our little cul-de-sac and in our thing, the next week, you couldn't tell that people had dug up all the yards and the streets and everything. So, and they were even out there after dark, because it got dark so early, with headlamps doing stuff. They were really good workers. So that's all I have to say.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Mr. Lawyer, would you be so kind as to pass that on to the colleagues at Zipley?
I sure will. I'll follow up with them and pass this to them, absolutely, because it's nice to hear the good things and not just the bad things.
It is. I think it's really important to share those good experiences. Counselor Christopher?
And I concur. They're in my neighborhood too, and it was exactly the same situation. They all, converge and there's like a bunch. There's a bunch of
yeah.
cars and a bunch of guys running around. And then when they leave, it was clean as can be. There were no complaints. It was really good.
Absolutely. Thank you. Council President Starr?
I want to thank Adam and Mr. Lawyer for staying on that and putting a system in place for consistent communication and feedback protocol. So there's, thanks.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. That is everybody I had signed up for public comment. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council tonight under public comment? Okay. We will then go to our public hearings. The first public hearing is a resolution forming the Clear Lake Commons Street Lighting Local Improvement District. Public hearing is now open, and I'll go to Mr. City Manager.
Let's see, this one is being handled by the city recorder.
Mayor and city councilors, tonight's public hearing is related to the formation of and assessments to the Clear Lake Commons Street Lighting Improvement District. This item came before council on November 18th, and at that time, the council took action to direct the city engineer to make a survey of the district and file a written report. On December 16th, council received and approved the city engineer's report and set tonight's public hearing. If during the public hearing tonight, remonstrances are not received, then a public hearing should be closed and council should consider the adoption of the resolution forming the lighting district. If the council forms the district, the council should also consider the adoption of the proposed assessment ordinance. If during the public hearing this evening valid remonstrances of the owners of 2/3 of the land to be specifically assessed for the lighting district are presented to the council should close the public hearing and suspend the formation of the district for 6 months.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report or the materials in the council packet? Seeing none, I would like to ask at this time if there's anyone here who would like to address the council under this topic. I have no one signed up under this public hearing. The floor is open. Okay, seeing none. Councilors, is there any additional information that you would like to have prior to closing the public hearing? Seeing none. Public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr.
I move to adopt resolution R2025 forming the Clear Lake Commons Street Lighting Local Improvement District. And I move to adopt ordinance number 2025 spreading the assessments to Clear Lake Commons Street Lighting Local Improvement District.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt resolution R 2025 forming the Clear Lake Commons Street Lighting Local Improvement District and ordinance number 2025 spreading assessments to Clear Lake Commons Street Lighting Local Improvement District. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. Let's go to item 7B, which is the OLCC application, change of ownership, off-premises liquor license, U.S. Market 1025. Public hearing is now open. City Manager?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The city recorder also has this application.
Thank you.
Mayor and City Council, the city received an application for a change of ownership for an off-premises sales liquor license for U.S. Market 1025 located at 6375 River Road Northeast, as required by Kaiser Ordinance 2010-623. A public hearing was scheduled for this evening. The Kaiser Police Department conducted a background check of the applicants, and they had no reason to recommend denial of the application. Staff recommends that the council recommend approval of this application.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from council on the report or the recommendation in the packet? Okay. Is there anyone here who would like to address the council under this public hearing? I have no one signed up to testify this evening.
I just came to represent U.S. Market 1025.
Well, why don't you come on down and introduce yourselves? We would love to hear from you and about your business. And this is televised, so you get a chance to share what you're doing. So if you would just state your name and your city of residence for the record. Welcome.
Thank you. I am Taslima Sidhu, the new owner, with my sister Jaslima Sidhu for the U.S. Market 1025.
Well, welcome.
Yeah. It was a good opportunity. It's our neighborhood market. Like, we grew up in Kaiser, and it's been something that we've always inspired to purchase. So I think to be able to have that opportunity has been great, and to do it in our city. So nothing could be better than that.
That's wonderful. Well, congratulations to you both, and we wish you great success. So you are already open and operating, correct? Or about to?
About to.
Okay.
It's open as current BNS market, but it will be transitioning into a U.S. market.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, wonderful. Yeah, I think a lot of us, when you said BNS market, bing,
Yes.
old labels die hard around here, as I'm sure you know.
No, honestly, it'd be great to keep it as BNS market, but in order to transition into a modern world, I should say, to give a nice transformation and facelift to it, I think it would be good to transfer the name as well.
Very exciting. Well, congrats. Any questions?
Just a comment.
Oh, Councilor Cross.
It's just great to see you outside of the
hotel
hotel world that I usually see you in.
Hi, Sarita.
So love and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Anything else? Councilor Duran.
So I want to congratulate you also, and I remember you from years ago. Her and Claire my daughter Claire were good friends.
Yep.
So she was over many times.
Yep.
And I appreciate seeing what you're doing now. This is great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
The next generation taking the reins. Well done. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And make sure that we get notice when you guys are open so we can help celebrate.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time.
You bet. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council during this public hearing? Any council, do you need any additional information prior to closing the public hearing? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr.
I move the Kaiser City Council recommend approval of the application for a change of ownership for an off-premises sales liquor license for U.S. Market 1025 under the guidelines established by ORS 471.175 and the ordinances of the City of Kaiser.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council recommend approval of the application for a change of ownership for an off-premises sales liquor license for U.S. Market 1025 under the guidelines established by ORS 471.175 and the ordinances of the City of Kaiser. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. We look forward to the opening. All right, that concludes public hearings for this evening. We will now move to administrative action. And the first item of business is the Event Center's fee waiver, Kaiser Chamber of Commerce, Percy Auction. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Wood, the Assistant City Manager, will have the next two fee waiver items.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, City Council, the Kaiser Chamber of Commerce has requested a waiver of the use fees for the annual Kaiser Network of Women Percy Auction. It is scheduled for May 2nd, 2025. The letter requesting the fee waiver is attached. The event is open to the public and tickets are available for purchase at $45 per person. The event is a fundraiser to support the Kaiser Network of Women Holiday Giving Basket Program. The Chamber of Commerce or Kaiser Network of Women do not profit at all from the funds raised from this event. The use rate for the event center ballroom is $243.75 per hour. That does include the 25% discount for Kaiser-based 501c nonprofit organizations, along with a refundable deposit of $1,500. The facility use fee for the time period is $6,825 in total. The chamber has also requested use of the stage, AV equipment, and a coat rack for additional $325. In addition to the use fee, third-party security personnel will be required during the hours of alcohol service at a charge of $900. The chamber is requesting a total fee waiver of $7,150, and customary with our event center policies, we would require the security deposit and $900 for the third-party security. And with that, if there's any questions, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report? I would like to invite up Jill Gust to tell us a little bit more about this event. And Jill, well, you both can come up. You just got voluntold by your kid. Well, way to go. Just make sure the red light's on.
It's on.
All right.
I'm Jill. I work for the Kaiser Chamber of Commerce. I'm a resident here in Kaiser.
I'm Leslie Reiswick, and I am the co-chair of the Percy auction.
Thank you. You want to tell us, for folks who are listening, about the Percy auction, what it is for, and as it functions as a fundraiser, major fundraiser in this community?
The primary function of the Percy auction is to raise funds for the Holiday Giving Basket program, which provides clothing and a toy gift at Christmas time for children here in Kaiser. All the kids who are nominated are residents of Kaiser and go to school here. In 2024, we were able to help 207 families that were identified from the school and public entities, and that we calculated that it took 459 volunteer hours to put on that program. The funds from the Percy auction went to help us make sure that all the gifts, all the kids, and all the families also received a food box and any other needs that they requested.
Well, thank you very much. And this is for the Kaiser Network of Women, correct?
Yes.
And that's part of the Chamber of Commerce, but this is not something that goes in the general fund of Chamber of Commerce. This is all earmarked for this program specifically.
Yeah, it's separate.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a complete separate program. It's our women's group. We do have, there is a separate co-chair and chair for the Kaiser Network of Women, but Leslie and myself are the chairs for this event.
What's the theme for this year?
Grease Lightning. We are going to turn the event center into a 1950s diner. Complete with jukeboxes and a root beer float bar.
Oh, how fun. So looking forward to that. What's the date again? So it looks at May 2nd?
Yeah, Friday, May 2nd is going to be the date for the Percy auction.
Because I was looking at the request for the time, so May 2nd is the event, and there's a request for the center from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. on the 1st for setup. And I think we had this conversation around First Citizen about if that room is available, if there's someone else that will be using that space up until that time, just how flexible that is to push it into the latter part of the day or evening if there is an opportunity to rent that space during the day. So talk to me about what that would do for your planning.
It takes us about a day to set up for this event. We have to set up for tables, the silent auction, live auction. Adams Rib Smokehouse, who's going to be doing catering, is going to come and erect the float bar. It is a big production. It takes a lot of us to put it on. Last year, it took the day before and the day of to put it all together. And at go time, we were still doing minor adjustments. It is a big production to put this on.
Okay. I want to make sure we had that question out there because I know we've discussed that before. Counselor Christopher.
So Jill, wonder if, and you'll probably be fine, but if we had an opportunity to rent it, would you be able to, you wanted it 2 to 10 on Thursday? Was that right?
Yeah, I believe that's what we requested, 2 to 10.
2 to 10. So worst case scenario, could you still be able to get everything accomplished if you had it after the work day? So that's usually when we rent the event center, is for work-related events, so 8 to 5-ish. So would that still work if we gave it to you from 5 to 10 or even midnight? Go ahead and stay.
I don't know. The day that Thursday is the mayor's prayer breakfast. So that will be going on in that part as well. That's why we pushed it to that time, because it's already booked for us for that prayer breakfast.
Okay.
And I believe Kaiser Rotary was meeting, and so we tried to be
Oh,
as
so it's
flexible.
all on that day? So it's
On
Mayor's
all
Prayer
on
Breakfast, then Rotary,
Thursday.
then you?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
well, then you're
there's-
probably fine. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we,
Thank you.
we, that's how we did that time, because it accommodated prayer breakfast, and then Rotary, and then
Yeah.
it'll be takedown, and then we'll get the room after
Yeah,
that
that
to
was
set up.
good.
Yeah.
You
Because
did
there's
good.
kind of a transition with the tables, like we talked with Lily for quite a long time about that and tried to be accommodating to everything that was going on with the city, especially if the fee waiver gets
Yeah.
approved, so that we're not really bumping anybody from their comfort and also
No,
for you
with
guys
that additional
revenue-wise.
information, that works perfect. Good job.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Good coordination there. So the competing interest is you guys.
Yeah. We're the ones hindering ourselves from signing up the entire day before, so, you know.
Gotcha. Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. And then Rotary, you've had that conversation with them. Okay. That is very helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Any other questions? Counselor Kohler has a question.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Last year for the Percy event, how much money did you raise?
Oh.
Within, you know, $2 or $3?
$2 or $3, you want it like, okay. I believe we were sitting at about 30,000 is what we raised. And all of that goes right back into the Giving Basket program.
So just follow up.
Follow up?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So to say that this is a huge undertaking would be an understatement. So if you're able to raise anywhere near that amount again, then the Giving Basket program can go forward without a lot of other problems or without other incidents thinking, oh, we need more money. So I just want to commend you for all the work that you guys do there.
Thank you, Counselor Kohler.
All right, Counselor Cross?
Thank you, ladies, for all that you do. Was that gross or net?
It wasn't net. I can get you the numbers.
I think,
if
well,
you-
if I remember, I kind of feel like it was like 17 or 18, which is great. But Does that sound about right?
I couldn't tell you without.
I believe it was a little more than that. It was closer to that, with everything that we brought in with sponsorships and table sales.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other information for council? Council President Starr, would you please put a motion on the table?
I move the Kaiser City Council approve the requested waiver of the event center use fee of $7,150, but charge the refundable security deposit of $1,500 and third-party security of $900 for the Kaiser Chamber of Commerce Percy auction on May 2nd, 2025.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council approve the requested waiver of the event center use fee, of $7,150, but charge the refundable security deposit of $1,500 and third-party security of $900 for the Kaiser Chamber of Commerce Percy auction on May 2nd, 2025. Discussion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. Item 8B, which is an event center fee waiver, Casa of Marion County Dinner. City Manager.
Madam Mayor, City Council, CASA of Marion County has requested a waiver of the use fees for a charity dinner on April 26, 2025. The letter requesting the use fee waiver is attached. The use rate for the event center is $243.75 per hour. This is the nonprofit rate for Kaiser-based 501c organizations. CASA has requested access to the room from 9 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. on the day of the event. CASA has also requested use of the stage and AV equipment for an additional $300. In addition, third-party security is required for an additional $600 during the time of alcohol service. With that, I will turn it back to you for any additional questions. Thank you.
All right, are there any questions on the staff report? Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a question, Mr. Wood. You mentioned in the report, you said Kaiser-based nonprofit. Can you expand on that for me, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Typically, when we look at these, when we apply that discount rate, and that is the authorized discount rate in the ordinance and resolution for the event center, typically we look at if they're serving Kaiser residents. I think that's really the biggest component that we try to deal with.
Well, what I'd like to do is turn it over to you to introduce yourself and the event that will be coming here for the benefit of CASA.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Collins. I am a resident of Salem. I'm a event contract employee for CASA. I'd like to address City Council President Shani Starr's comment first. We have moved locations. We are no longer residing in the city of Kaiser. CASA is currently residing in Salem. And when I spoke to Lily about this event and presenting our proposal to have the fee waived, because we do serve several families in Kaiser, she suggested that we go ahead and attempt to go with that. So I did want to address what President Starr had said. And then I also wanted to indicate that this is the first time that we've done this kind of an event for an evening. It's scheduled for April 26th, 2025, and the theme is Springtime Soiree, and we are looking to have it be bloom where you are planted, because we really want to focus on being able to help the kids that are between the ages of 11 and 18 be set up for success as they graduate high school and as they get into college. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and so we chose April specifically to have it be a month of new beginnings and being able to have let's help these kids have a brighter future by having everything bloom for them.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here tonight to tell us about the event and be able to answer questions. Council members, questions for Ms. Collins? Councilor Cross.
Hi, Jennifer. Thanks
Hello.
for being here. I'm just looking, so the early bird pricing, like on social media, so it looks like early bird pricing till February 1st?
No, we have had to change that because of the new software that we're using to actually purchase tickets. The early bird pricing is going to go from February 1st, as soon as I learn the program this week, to the end of February is how
Okay.
we're going to do that. We already have.
I was just
40
going to give you another plug.
Yeah, no, yeah, I appreciate that. We're working on getting the software set up to have that take place. We have $4,500 in sponsorships currently. And I do just want to reiterate that working with the crew for the luncheon last year here, it was an amazing experience. Lily's amazing. The parking's amazing. People enjoy being able to come out here if they've never been here before. So it was really lovely to be able to host 320 people here in October and introduce a lot of them to this building that had never been here before.
Will you have a featured speaker? I forget was it like
We will
Rising
not
Star
have a
that you
featured
used to have?
speaker for this
What
event.
did you used to have? Rising Star? What was the name of the night program you would do?
Light of Hope.
She's referring to Light of Hope. We
I
will
was
not.
like, the Star, the Hope, the something.
We will not have a speaker for this one. We are looking strictly at a live auction and paddle raise and a dessert dash.
Thank you.
Very fun. All right, any other questions for Ms. Collins? All right. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
And really appreciate you bringing the event to Kaiser. Anything further? Council President Starr, would you put a motion on the table, please?
I move the Kaiser City Council approve the requested waiver of the event center use fee of $3,703.12. I want to know that one, the 12 cents. But charge the refundable security deposit of $1,500 and third-party security of $600 for the Casa of Marion County dinner on April 26, 2025.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council approve the requested waiver for the event center use fee of $3,703.12, but charge the refundable security deposit of $1,500 and third-party security of $600 for the Casa of Marion County dinner on April 26, 2025. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. Thank you all very much. Let's go to item 8C, which is budget request, Greater Northeast Kaiser Neighborhood Association. And City Manager?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Assistant City Manager, Tim Wood, has this one.
Madam Mayor, City Council, During the January 6, 2025 meeting, the council directed staff to bring back to the next meeting a staff report regarding the Greater Northeast Kaiser Neighborhood Association's request for additional funding. All of the neighborhood associations were granted $1,200 in funding for the 24-25 fiscal year. However, they're requesting an additional $600. So far, they've used, as of December 31st, $1,039.87 of their $1,200. We did get another request for another $154. If I do the math, and I don't really want to do it in public, but I think it leaves them about $7 for the rest of the year. Again, they are requesting an additional $600. Your options tonight are to direct staff to prepare a supplemental budget, and my request would be, if we do this, to grant each of the neighborhood associations an additional $600 to maintain parity among the associations, or to not take any action tonight and pick this up during the budget process, which will convene in May. With that, I'd be free to address any questions.
All right, any questions for staff? Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Wood, you, one of your options or your recommendations, if I understood you correctly, was if we were going to do this, to do it for every neighborhood association. Where are the other neighborhood associations at in their budget?
That's a really good question, Councilor Starr. The other neighborhood associations, majority of them don't submit their receipts till the end of the year. So we don't really have a good feel. There's a handful they've spent, the other associations have spent a couple $100 a piece. But again, most of them sit on their receipts till the end of the year when I beg and plead for them to turn them in.
Great, thank you.
They put a pin in that one to see if they can get them in sooner. All right, Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Didn't we just up, like last year or the year before, how much money we give each neighborhood association?
That is correct,
And
Councilor Cross.
Can you remind me? I think it was like, I don't even remember. I want to say from 600 to 900, somewhere in there.
You're close. Yep. We went from 600 to 1,200 apiece.
Oh, so doubled.
Yep.
Yeah. Man, I would have lost that Price is Right game. Okay. All right, thank you.
So, what I'd like to do is invite up Tammy Kunz to talk to us about what the neighborhood association's been doing and the funding request.
Tammy Kunz, Kaiser, Oregon, Greater Northeast Kaiser Neighborhood Association President. So part of this process was we have focused a lot, which you guys should have this in front of you, on community engagement for 2024. And then we took a look at our budget and realized that was not the smartest choices we have made. So to get through to June of 2025, we are requesting 600. And part of that is because of utilizing the space and having to pay insurance and all the extra fees and everything that went along with the community engagement pieces that we weren't used to doing. And we have decided to leave it to CDEC for that purpose. But we learned a lot.
So I've got a question. I was looking at the funding used to date. It looks like the biggest expense has been photocopying. Is there a way to reduce that between now and the end of the year, send things out electronically?
Yes, we have moved a lot of that to electronically. I still have about 250 families that don't deal with electronic anything, including a normal cell phone, for whatever purpose. We still provide them written minutes and newsletters when they request it, but we have asked that they look into finding a different way to do that, whether it's going to the Kaiser Library and pulling it up on their website, which a couple of them have done and said it's really easy to access. Thank you for all that.
Okay. And then my other follow-up is, so the total was in the report has been 1751. And you've spent 1039, well, almost 1,200 now from the city. Where was the rest of the money from?
Kaiser United provided money for support for National Night Out and for the safety awareness gathering.
Okay. And that was the rest of that. Okay, thank you. Questions, council? Councilor Cross?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Have you thought about partnering with the other neighborhood associations with money, dollars? Like pulling the money?
Everybody has their own budget. I've talked to Rhonda about it. They have a really tight budget as well with what they have going out for printing and website and that other kind of stuff, as Carolyn can attest to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we see the price of eggs. Everybody has a tight budget right now. And then just a suggestion, photos with cameras for flyers instead of printing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for the rest of the year, what are the things that you are anticipating needing to use the funds for?
Mainly printing and maintaining Zoom and keeping that online since we have moved to Zoom to help cut cost
Okay.
for printing agendas and all of that.
So you're using a subscription Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay.
We recently increased it so that we could have access to recording it after my conversations with Dan, realizing we should be recording those. So we have increased that to get that access and be able to do that. So next month will be the first time we'll be able to record it. So we're pretty excited about that. And then I guess it turns it to an audio file.
Yeah.
I have one question.
Follow up on that, Councilor
Yeah.
Cross?
Thank you. Joe, I have a question for you on this. Speaking to what Tim said about keeping equal parity, so say we give Greater Northeast 150, so we really should equal it out. So making sure that we have equality. What if we didn't? What does that look like legally?
It's within this group's power to pivot and give various amounts to folks, but I would say.
Good faith.
Yeah, I mean, it's still, so legally speaking, that's fine. I know what Tim Wood is saying is that everybody is dealing with hard budgets.
And
they-
everybody's
yeah,
got
yeah.
the same amount of money. No, that totally makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And, one other, have you gotten sponsors besides Kaiser United for anything?
Not as of yet.
Okay, thank you.
So I've got a follow-up question on Zoom. So the city has a Zoom account. Is there a way for the neighbor associations to be able to use the Zoom account? Or would that be something that we would consider? Mr. Wood?
Madam Mayor, City Council, I think we'd be in violation of our terms of agreement with Zoom. I think they try to lock it down by entity. So I would be a little hesitant to go that path.
Just asking. Okay. Appreciate that. So with the cost of Zoom, because I own an account and so forth. So might I suggest working with some of our staff to look at, there'd be some cost savings for the organization, not to run your Zoom and so forth, but maybe some options that would be cost savings as well.
Yeah, we signed a contract with our Zoom to get a discounted rate because of us being a neighborhood association and them wanting to help with community engagement and help us do the things that we do. We have agreed to stick to that for a year.
Okay. Councilor Parsons?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. What is that monthly cost for Zoom, if you don't mind?
Ours is gonna be $15.99 starting next month.
$15.99? Okay, thank you.
That's not bad.
It's per month, right?
Yep,
Okay.
it's not bad considering what it could have been.
So it's the printing that's the killer here?
Yeah, we've been doing most of our printing here, but I have talked to Staples and Office Max and can get it done for less. So that's what we've agreed to do. It was just more convenient to have Dawn take care of it
But not necessarily cost effective.
and not cost effective.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate the work. Any further questions from council? Is there a motion that we'd like to put on the table?
Madam Mayor, the staff report under the proposed motion section states no motion recommended.
That is correct. So the question is there a motion that someone would like to put on the table relative to this issue? They didn't put in a script for us, leaving this up to us. That's the question.
Do you want me to verbally say no?
Yes, please.
Okay, well, I didn't know, no, not for
looking
me,
for it.
not for Sorority Cross.
Okay. So what I'm hearing though from council, based on the lack of communication, except for Council Cross, thank you for saying, that at this point, the will of the council is not move forward with the recommendation for the additional funding, at this time for the One Neighbor Association, or to consider moving forward with additional funding for all of them. Just as a,
That's what I would like to say, is that because we'd have to give it to all of them.
right. And we have 5, so that'd be $3,000 that would then come from our general fund at this point for the rest of the year. Counselor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We all have budgets we have to live with, and if we have to go over our budget to make things work, then we need to find additional revenue sources. And I think that Councilor Cross's question about looking for some sponsorship for things might be a good way to do that. But I don't think that we can, in good faith, extend an amount of money to your budget because there were some things that you didn't see or didn't do right. I think we also have to live within our budget. And then if we need additional monies, find additional sources.
If I might suggest, we're going to be having a work session sometime this spring. It's the annual one that we've now established with our neighborhood associations. And let's have a talk about the costs, what our neighborhood associations are doing with the funds, how they are maximizing the use of funds for outreach into the neighborhoods and so forth, what expenditures they're finding to be useful. And we can have that more as a roundtable conversation that can help inform both budgeting, but also, methodologies for outreach into the community. Counselor Cross.
And follow up to that, we all have different strengths, and Tammy's strength is going out and building relationships, and if her strength isn't a budget, who says that we can't partner up with her and help her write out one? We'd love to.
I'd like to invite up Colleen Bush, Southeast Kaiser.
Am I on?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Colleen Bush with Southeast Kaiser Neighborhood Association, live in Kaiser. At our neighborhood association meeting last week, whenever we had it, we agreed to use our funds that we still have, over $600, to help pay for the State of the City thing, and as well as the candidate forum that's coming up. So that'll help relieve the other neighborhood associations who've had to use a lot of money, so we haven't done as much this year. So we've agreed to do that, if that'll help at all.
Thank you. That does help, at least for me. Okay. So, and just for clarity, the State of the City is a neighborhood association, State of the City, where it's a community forum and conversation. So it's not the formal address that's usually hosted by the Chamber of Commerce, although I don't have a date for that yet. Any other questions at this time? Okay. We'll find, we'll keep working on alternatives. Okay, item 8D, which is a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign a letter of intent with Terra Firma Property Development LLC, Kaiser Station, Area B. City manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I'm excited to bring this in front of you. And as you will know, we have been working on this for the last 4 months about. And this is an opportunity to sell the property that we own on the northwest corner of Kaiser Station Boulevard and Lock Haven. The purchase find my staff report here. Okay, there we go. The purchase price this is a letter of intent to purchase. Is $4.655 million. And what it would be needed after the letter of intent is approved is for them to go through a master planning process for Area B. And I can tell you, are very excited and ready to do something. They have a number of ideas that have to be worked out in the due diligence process with the master planning because there's various things they could do there. So their plan is not yet decided, but we are very excited. This is a Terra Firma Property Development LLC that we're working with. They are a local developer that most of us know, and they would be leaving $50,000 in escrow with this letter of intent. And we would have to make the street fund whole. The purchase amount for the street fund that would go back to the street fund is $935,000, $700, and no cents, Councilor President Starr.
No 12 cents?
No 12 cents, no. And with that, I'm happy to ask or answer any questions that the council may have.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions on the staff report or the letter of intent? Council President Starr, would you like to put a motion on the table, please?
Can I ask a question?
Oh, yes, I'm
Thank
sorry, I
you.
didn't see.
So, Mr. Brown, maybe I missed it when I read through this, but I didn't see in the letter of intent where it discusses anything about, like commissions or anything like that. Is it typical, the normal, like if you were buying or selling a house, or what does that look like? Maybe I missed it, but I didn't see it.
It's not in there because we agreed not to pay any commissions.
Okay,
And
that would be why
so
it's not in there.
It was debated,
There you
or
go.
discussed,
Okay.
so I'm glad you brought it up. And a typical commission, I mean, obviously the broker has to get paid, but in this case, the developer is going to cover the brokerage costs.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Council President Starr?
Yes, if I can, just give me a minute to get back there. Okay, here we go. I move that the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R2025, authorizing the city manager to sign the letter of intent with Terra Firma Property Development LLC for Kaiser Station Area B.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R 2025, authorizing the city manager to sign a letter of intent with Terra Firma Property Development LLC, Kaiser Station Area B. Discussion. Is that from Yahoo? Yeah, I'm seeing the fantastic. My comment is, well done. Great job to our city manager, Adam Brown, and the team for working through this negotiation and bringing something that's very responsible for the people of Kaiser, in my opinion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. All right, let's go to item 8E, which is an ordinance relating to Planning Commission amending Kaiser Code Sections 2.123 and 2.124. This looks a little different because now we're doing according to our code. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Ms. Planning Director Shane Witham has this item.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council. So we are back. I think that actually Planning Commissioner Lawyer pretty much gave the staff report for this item earlier in our public comment time with his update. But just to kind of recap, we were here at the December 16th meeting. There were some proposed rule changes that Planning Commission had identified because of a number of reasons. But at that council meeting, a couple of items were brought up that council asked staff to take back to them. Primarily, one was to look at the residency requirement and whether or not there should be one, and what Planning Commission's opinion and recommendation was on that, because it was something they hadn't talked about. And then the second piece was the term limit piece, that Planning Commission had brought a recommendation on the 16th that said no limits at all to consecutive terms. And City Council asked staff to take back to Planning Commission to have them consider 3 3-year terms or 3 4-year terms. So we did that, and as Planning Commissioner or lawyer explained, there was much robust discussion, a lot of different things. Ultimately, what we've brought back is Planning Commission's recommendation to council. So the ordinance language, which it is a different format than last time. That's kind of fun when you adopt the code and in the middle of a process and go, oh, hey, what's happening? There's only like one page to look at. It was kind of great. But so the draft language that's before you, I can't take credit for it. It was the legal department that put the red words there. But it reflects Planning Commission's recommendation, which is ultimately not to have a hard and fast, only a Kaiser resident. One member could be a non-resident if they were a business or property owner in Kaiser, is where they landed. There was a lot of discussion about that, and kind of the staff report kind of spells that out. And then the other piece, as Mr. Lawyer had said earlier tonight, they kind of had conversations and said, well, if City Council wants us to consider 3 3-year terms or 3 4-year terms, well, 3 times 4 is 12. So how about 4 3-year terms? It's still 12. So that's ultimately what the recommendation is and how it lines up. The other piece was something that wasn't questioned. It's the same as it was on the 16th, which is a provision to call a special meeting and a provision to be able to cancel a meeting with concurrence of the council liaison, the chair, and staff liaison. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there questions on the staff report or the Exhibit A? So Mr. Lawyer brought up the concept of adding in that there'd be a place for, quote, until position filled, in case there was a snafu in appointment or a delay for any one of a number of reasons. So there would not be a gap. So somebody would stay on the planning commission if there was a delay in filling that position. So I don't know where that would go in here, but I was intrigued with the idea, and it makes sense because we don't want to have a gap in service, especially as complex as this work is. What is the council's thought on that? I'll go to Mr. Lindsay and then ask you all to let me know what you think.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If you look on page 1 of 2 of the code, which is on page 104 of the packet, under sub C, near the top, the term of office of the appointed members shall be 3 years or until their assessors are appointed and qualified.
What's there?
So in a sense, it exists.
Okay, already checked that box. Perf. Okay.
If you wanted stronger language, we could change that.
That looks like it covers it to me.
Yeah.
Anybody, if they want to change, we can do that. Okay. Council President Starr, would you like to put a motion on the table for us to then deliberate?
I move the Kaiser City Council adopt ordinance 2025 relating to Planning Commission and amending Kaiser Code sections 2-123 and 2-124.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt ordinance 2025 relating to Planning Commission, amending Kaiser Code sections 1.1-123 and 1-124. Any further? No? Okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. Okay. Item 8F is a resolution authorizing city manager to enter into a contract with Attorney Excavating, Inc. for manhole repairs. City Manager?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Public Works Director Bill Lawyer has this item.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Multiple manholes along River Road have sunken after the resurfacing of the street and need to be brought back up to pavement grade. Staff has identified the likely cause of the manhole sinking and have adjusted our construction standards to resolve the problem. The resurfacing of River Road required the manholes originally be lowered and then brought back up to pavement grade. The process identified in our construction standards was found to be inadequate and has been revised. The project will use the new standards, which should result in the manhole lids remaining at pavement grade. We solicited bids through the informal bidding process. 3 contractors were sent bid requests, only 2 responded. The bids ranged from a high of $146,550 to a low of $135,000 even, no cents, with Turney Excavating submitted the lowest bid. I had to.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
0
Very
cents.
sensible.
This has gone downhill. Sorry.
Yep.
This project includes 25 manholes on River Road North, 24 of them being from the South City limits to Shamawa, and 1 being up near the Country Glen Street Avenue, I can never remember which it is, River Road intersection. This project was not anticipated in the fiscal year 24-25 street fund budget that was prepared and adopted by the City Council. Funding for this project has been identified in the City Council adopted fiscal year 24-25 street fund budget, the unanticipated expense line item, which is $109,000, and the balance of $26,000 coming from the street resurfacing line item. Staff originally estimated this project to be under $100,000. We were sadly low in our estimation. Approval of this project now will allow the manholes to be brought back up to pavement grade at the earliest possible time, weather depending. City Council's approval is required to authorize this project. Options are to adopt the attached resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Turney Excavating for the manhole repairs on River Road, or do nothing. Staff recommends the City Council adopt the attached resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Turney Excavating for the manhole repairs on River Road. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Questions for Mr. Lawyer? Counselor Duran?
Can you tell me what failed?
The technical term is the speed set concrete. The speed set concrete. The concrete material that's used between the manhole section, the solid piece that goes all the way down to the bottom of the excavation. And then there's what's called grade rings between that and the actual steel or cast steel that the manhole lid sits in. Okay, that steel rim has to sit at pavement grade. Well, that's a variable distance always. And so you can use a minimum 2-inch thick grade ring. We don't allow them any thinner than that because they break. And then shim it from there and then use speed set concrete. Well, what we found is the speed set concrete doesn't hold up. It just deteriorates and breaks down. That rim goes down. Some go down a little bit because that's the shims that were used. Some go down more because they use more shims. So we've revised that to use a different specification of concrete material. Requires them to be plated with a steel plate a little bit longer so the concrete can cure before it can be paved. But it results in a better, longer lasting finished product.
Follow up?
So the one in front of my business is sunk, and that's what I wondered, did the concrete, the grade ring fail, or was it what was underneath it? So you're saying it's what was underneath it that failed?
Well, we'll have to find out when they get in there, but it's either the grade ring that a contractor snuck a 1-inch in on us, okay, which has happened, or it's the concrete that was used with the shims between the grade ring and the steel.
Because I noticed the grade ring on mine, around in front of my office, it's little pieces.
Okay.
So, and every time the bus goes over that, the city bus, there's a city bus that changes lanes right in front of my office. And so the tires hit that ring, it shakes my desk. So it's not, I mean, it actually moves stuff in my office. And it's only when when something's changing lanes, because then because that's right in the middle of the lane.
Right.
So I was just wondering, what was the issue with that? And I figured it was.
Sounds
the
to me
concrete.
like, from what you've explained, the whole concrete grade ring has failed. And so
Oh, yeah,
the whole circle's going down.
Yeah,
If
the
it's-
steel's about an inch and a half
If it's
below
the
grade.
steel, just the piece that's supporting the steel, then you'll see just the steel go down, not the whole circle cut go down.
So, yeah, I knew that there was a problem, and
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure what the problem was.
So we're gonna do everything we can to fix that and all the rest of them.
Yeah.
Council President Starr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lawyer, I think there's a couple on Lock Haven as well. Is that included, not just, because I noticed you're doing River Road, but,
It's not included in this project because it was included in the request for bids, but we had to pare it back down to the $135,000 because of the process that we used. That was the highest dollar amount our legal department was comfortable with, okay? We have talked about how we're going to address those on Lock Haven. There's some on Shamal Road North.
Yep.
Some in Kaiser Station.
Yep.
And we're going to just knock them off with staff as we can.
okay.
That's our plan.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Councilor Kohler?
That was my question also about Lock Haven, but I suggest maybe that Counselor Duran might get some little rubber balls put under his desk in the meantime.
Well, that would kind of be a jolt. All right. Thank you very much. Council President Starr, would you like to put a motion on the table?
Favorite motion of the night. I move that the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution 2025, authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Turney Excavating, Inc. for manhole repairs.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R 2025, authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Turney Excavating, Inc. for manhole repairs. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously, and with great joy, looking forward to that project getting done. All right, let's go to item 8G, which is a discussion regarding the potential sunset of the Personnel Policy Committee. City Manager?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. This item is before you in response to your meeting on December 16th, where you asked us to bring back this for discussion by the City Council. The Personnel and Policy Committee, the question is should the Personnel Policy Committee sunset? Currently, it's made up of 3 members of the council, and they meet quarterly at this time. The most pressing thing before them right now is the adoption of the Personnel and Policy Manual that was split into council-approved policies and then administrative policies. I know when I was, as I was contemplating this and writing the staff report, I thought it could exist as an ad hoc committee where it comes together just when policy changes are needed. But then I also thought, well, the city council may just want to discuss it as a committee of the whole too. So ultimately, that's where my recommendation landed, but we'd be happy to, whatever the pleasure of the council is.
All right, thank you very much. This is something that I asked us to look at. I've been on this committee. It predates my term on city council, and it feels to me like this could, what the Personnel Policy Committee is now handling could be handled ad hoc, just as needed. So I would like to hear your thoughts on the notion of going ahead and sunsetting this committee as it stands right now.
Sunset. Get the accent.
All right, I'm hearing that there is, the recommendation makes sense to go ahead and start the process to sunset. We do have a meeting set up for next Monday, and there were the last little bit of business to take care of with the Personnel Policy Manual. So might I suggest that this would go into effect in February rather than immediately, so we can wrap up any loose ends, if that would be amenable to council. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If my recollection is correct, Counselor Reed was one of the people that were on that committee. Would you have somebody substitute for this next meeting, or just do it solo?
No, I would, my preference would be to go ahead and swap in a counselor so there'd be 3 people to look at those loose ends and make sure that recommendations are looked at from a variety of points of view. Currently on that would be Council President Starr and myself, so we'd be looking for a 3rd person to come in to help tie a bow on this. Council President Starr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So we would be looking at the personnel policy manual that would then just come back to council for approval. I mean, if there's only 2 of us, I say we just sunset it and let it all come back let the whole thing come to council and discuss it as a whole, rather than putting somebody in there for one meeting that hadn't been for the whole process. So my inclination is we just sunset it and we can all do it as a team.
I'm really comfortable with that, besides one less meeting. All right, Council President Starr, would you like to put a motion on the table to that effect?
I move that the Kaiser City Council direct staff to bring back a resolution to sunset the Personnel Policy Committee.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council direct staff to bring back a resolution to sunset the Personnel Policy Committee. So with that, my question is, we do have a meeting scheduled for next Monday. So understanding that this would not be on the agenda till at least February 3rd, that part of our next steps would be then to go ahead and cancel the one for next week. That's not part of this deliberation, but I want to make sure we're clear that that's the intent of the council. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes, one less committee. There's my little listy. Fantastic. Okay, item H. This would be on adopting City of Kaiser Council Rules of Procedure. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. You all worked very hard due to some hard work that Attorney Joseph Lindsay put in. And so I'm going to turn the time over to him as he's carried the workload on this.
Okay. Mr. Lindsay.
Good evening, thank you, Mayor and Council. I would just point out that over the course of the last few meetings, we have brought forward at individual councilors' requests, and then, and becoming a group of 3 requests, and then becoming everybody's requests, that you revisit and look at your rules. This culminated in last Saturday, having a over 4-hour work session where the rules were discussed, and that staff was given the direction to come back with the red lines that are in the packets in front of you. What you would notice in the staff report is that this meeting happened after publication time for the packet itself. So what you have in front of you is slightly different than what the public might have seen, although they could always go back and listen because this work session was recorded. And so if anybody had curiosities, they could easily go back and listen and know exactly why it is that these changes are here. They're not hugely different than what is in the packet, but there are some substantive differences because you guys worked through and kind of wordsmithed a decent amount over that course of that time, as well as I thought had some really robust discussions about why certain rules even exist and how you want to operate. So, and these are the council rules. They are, it's the province of the council, and all 7 folks up here on the dais are in the council, and everybody gets a vote on how they want to operate and have their procedures for these meetings. And the only real hang up on your rules is that the electors of the city created the charter and gave you guys all powers to begin with. So you can't offend the charter, but everything else is kind of fair game for how you want to operate procedurally. And so what we've done is put together these changes, because of the quick turnaround between Saturday morning and now, we were still even discovering them even afterwards. I chatted with Adam, City Manager Brown, even after we tried to make copies for everybody to have on the dais, and he had noticed, I'll say this, so if everybody goes to 3.5, section 3.5, this was one where I believe it was the December 16 meeting, we started changing some of the rules and got to maybe section 5. And then, so we had taken some of the language and said, do we need, and in particular 3.5, whether or not we need the council president highlighted outside, or the council president is also the presiding officer. And so that had gotten taken out on the 16th. But then when we had our discussion at the work session, there was some back and forth about whether or not that was going to come in or out. And I believe it was even because there was an older version being discussed of some of the changes. And so I frankly didn't know what the council wanted. So I put the words back in, or council president. And I would just ask for this group if you want to pass it that way, or if you want to say as amended and scratch that out. It's calling, because it really is when the council president becomes mayor pro tem, if the mayor's not there, that this rule sort of gets put into place anyway. So if it makes no difference, that's great. I just want to point that out, because that was a point of clarification. I kind of was trying to listen to everybody and didn't get exactitude, so I put it in there for folks. Then two other things that came about, and I just wanted to ask on section 9, the heading itself. There was some discussion, it's called public comment, and whether or not you wanted to call the the section 9 public comment in meeting, or whether you are fine with it saying public comment. Because within our group, some people had notes that they thought calling this section public comment in meeting was what was desired. So I'm just trying to do exactly the wordsmithing that folks wanted. If it doesn't matter, if it just can remain public comment, then we won't even add it. And you're gonna have exactly the same question on section 11, which is on page 16 of the rules, whether or not you wanted it to say section 11, ordinances, orders, resolutions, and motions, or whether you wanted it to start with the words enactment of ordinances, orders, resolutions, and motions. And again, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I will leave that out. So beyond that, I really attempted to do exactly what folks came to consensus on. So with that, I would yield the rest of my time.
Well, thank you very much for spending a great deal of time after the work session to try to figure out how this should be put into this new red line version. When was this ready? Just kind of
3:17.
3:17 this afternoon?
Correct.
And is this on the website for anybody to see, for the public?
I'm sorry I didn't get it onto the website. We just sort of tried to send everybody a one-way, here's what we're looking at to the council, and then try to make copies quickly. So we'll make sure it gets put onto the website. But I guess we could always alter it a little bit tonight too. So if no alterations, we'll get it right on the website.
Well, that's not the point of my question, but thank you for that. So 3:17 this afternoon is when it was sent out via email for anybody who had, was not otherwise occupied. So this is the first, I haven't even been able to open this yet and look at it. Okay. So what we can do let me get back to this. So, Mr. Lindsay has raised 3 minor items, so need to know what you guys want to do with those. That was in 3.5. If you want to leave the repeat of council president or leave it out.
Leave all three.
So Counselor Christopher wants to leave all three. I'm not sure what, leave all three. Thank you. That's the rest of the sentence I was looking for. Okay, leave all three as written. Okay, do you want to work through to make sure that what we said matches this? Because I have absolutely no idea.
I'm fine with it.
Yep. So I'm glad you had time this afternoon. Okay, so why don't we put a motion on the table then, and then we can deliberate.
I move to adopt Resolution R2025, adopting the City of Kaiser Council Rules of Procedure, repealing Resolutions R2022-3369, R2023-3370, R2023-3373, R2024-3440, R2024-3505, and the minute motion made December 16th, 2024, and the minute motion made January 6th, 2025.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R 2025, adopting the City of Kaiser Council Rules of Procedure, repealing Resolutions R 2022-3369, R 2023-3370, R 2023-3373, R 2024-3440, R 2024-3505, minute motion made December 16, 2024, and minute motion made January 6, 2025. Discussion, I'll start down at the end and we'll just work down the dais. Counselor Duran.
I'm good with it.
Counselor Christopher.
I'm good with it.
Council President Starr.
I'm good with it.
Counselor Cross.
I'm good.
Okay. Counselor Kohler.
I see no changes.
Counselor Parsons.
This is exactly what we discussed on Saturday, Madam Mayor. So, just fine.
Okay. So I do have a comment. And I really want to thank everybody for the extensive work that we've done on the rules of procedure. We spent over 4 hours on this on Saturday. And we did discover several areas in which updates and corrections do need to be made. But I do have 3 items of concern. One is the creation of a new position called the Council Vice President. This was brought out Saturday morning. This is not something that was discussed prior to. And it feels to me like we're creating a more bureaucratic structure, and it does not serve a need or purpose. And it also feels like we're pushing the council into a 3rd tier after the mayor, council president, vice president, and then the other 4. As it is now, if I as mayor am not available, I send out the call to the whole group as peers and equals. So I do have a problem with this, and I do not favor the creation of this position. I would ask that we would delete that from this version and would make a motion for an amendment to do so. And I would be looking for a second. Motion dies for lack of second. The other part I do have questions on are Section 18. Everybody's been hearing all about the issues around making council appointments, and indeed, you see on our agenda, that's the next item for our consideration. This all started in December after the election when Council President Shaney Starr did come to council with a marked up version of the council rules that she had done, and with the concurrence of 2 other city councilors. So rather than get direction from council, this was created, and this was something that is not used by other cities. I was not consulted with other cities or jurisdictions, and will change the result of the appointment process, except for those that go through the volunteer coordinating committee. So the process will no longer be appointed by the mayor, as been done up until now, but be voted on by council. As Many of us have seen there's been a sense of urgency and pressure to get these adopted prior to January 6th, which was not able to happen in order to ensure that the current process of our rules would not be used. The result is a process that changes the mayoral responsibilities, and this is a change that seems to have happened after the election and has not been done prior to in the 42 years of the city of Kaiser. And what you're going to see after this passes is that we will then work through the list. We do have one that has been worked on by Council President Starr and myself. And one of the things that will be changing will be, I will no longer be serving on 4 regional committees that I've been doing for many years. And I've had a leadership role in all of those cases. Now, I have been wanting to share the external committee workload, and I'm glad that councilors are now willing to take on these larger roles and volunteer. I really appreciate Councilor Duran, who has agreed to take on a new level of regional leadership on transportation. There was a narrative shared, though, that I've been holding on these positions, and in fact, I've been encouraging and recruiting councilors to do so for many years and asking them to be alternates or to work with me so I can transition those to other people as well. All of these meet during the day, so work schedules, particularly during the pandemic, had resulted in only one such transfer, and actually that was the one that meets at night, the Kaiser Heritage Foundation, and that went to Councilor Reed. So I have one more concern, and that is on Section 6, and that no solution has been found to the problem of bringing agenda items to the council that are not well clarified or documented for discussion and create a lack of transparency with the people of Kaiser, and then complain that the meetings run too long. Section 6 needs to be updated so we have clear and responsible path for introducing issues for council action or topics for council work sessions that are transparent and accountable to the people of Kaiser. And the council rules document before us is a perfect example. It has unfinished sections that do need work. There's been no time to review the red line version. I'm glad you all read it very quickly. It was hot off the press today at 3:17. It is not published to the website. There's no way for the people of Kaiser to know what is in this document until after it is passed. And that is not how I believe that we should be doing business for the people of this city. All other concerns aside, this lack of transparency and accountability to the people of Kaiser is enough in and of itself for me to vote no on adopting this resolution tonight. And I'll leave that there. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. No. Motion passes 6-1 with the no being Clark. Thank you very much. There we go. Look forward to reading it. All right, let's go then to item 8I, which is board commissions and committee appointments for city council. And there is a draft that was put forward that Council President Starr and I did pencil. And we can start listing those, and then you can make changes to that as you would like in this process. Or we can refer it back to do the top 3 for the internal, top 3 for the external, if you want to do those separately. I would recommend that we work through them section by section. Any objection to doing that? Okay, let's go ahead and delete Personnel Policy Committee, since we just did that. Starting from the top of my pencil marks, and Council President Starr, please correct me if I don't get these right. Community Diversity Engagement Committee, we have Councilor Cross, said she would do that. And who's the second? Councilor Christopher.
I would like, there's a couple, there's some that I don't think we're ready to do yet. So I think that's one of them. And the reason I say that is the current resolution has 2 Kaiser City Council, city councilors.
Yeah.
And they're voting members. And we're going to be reviewing that, we're going to be doing all the committees in our work session on, I think, the 10th?
February 10th.
Yeah, okay. So I think we should hold off on that because we don't know what we're even appointing to. So I think that one should hold.
Can we
and-
press pause before we go to another one, if I may? Because
Sure.
I'd like to respond to that one specifically. These are 2 voting members. It's going to affect the, and I believe it could affect quorum for that committee if we leave those blank.
I would
Because
just
they're voting.
say, and they meet monthly.
Yes, they do.
I would say it's better that we know what we're appointing to than to make, as you've said yourself, a quick appointment just for the sake of getting it done. That's not the only one that has some issues. So I think we should wait until we're through our committee assessment to decide what we're appointing and who we're appointing and under what terms, because I doubt that those are going to stay voting, but they may.
Well, and that's the thing is that we can't presume an outcome.
Right,
So we need to work
exactly.
under the conditions we have now. We have the requirement for 2 counselors to be appointed to that, to fulfill that role between now and whenever we take that action, and we don't know when that's going to be.
Okay.
That work does need to happen, the conversation needs to happen. Do we want to give up the council voices on that committee between now and whenever that is? So, I mean, if you don't want to fill it, you don't want to fill it.
I don't. I want to move a motion.
Can we press pause on that one, on
Well,
that one particular one?
I wanted to move a motion on that particular one to put off appointing city councilors to that committee until we've done committee review. And I don't know if there'll be a second, but
Well, but I'd like to press pause on that because we already have asked that the city staff bring back information on that. It is already in the work queue to review that one in particular, to move it from voting to non-voting, but we have to work with what is, and there is work coming
that's
up.
my motion.
So,
My motion is to postpone, if there's a second.
motion dies for lack of second.
Okay?
So can we get a second individual to be willing to at least finish this work as far as it goes? Okay, I will go ahead and take that spot then. Counselor Cross said she would be one, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say that there is some work to be done, so.
Yeah,
But you're gonna stay on that committee now?
yeah.
Did you say Kathy, you?
Yeah, and since nobody else will do it, I'll be the second one for that, so we can figure it out.
I would just say from the outside looking in, it feels a little tokeny.
It what?
Feels like a little bit of tokenism.
Tokenism.
Yes, I did, but I'm just saying like now that I'm sitting here, yeah, but I'll do it. I just
Well, if
saw
you
that
don't want
nobody-
to.
I just saw nobody else wanted to do it. No, I already told Tammy like a month ago I wanted to do it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's what I have on my notes, so if you want to not do it, please.
No, I'll tell
Okay.
you if I don't want to do it. I said I would do it.
I'm counting on that. All right, Kaiser Emergency Planning, right now we have Counselor Starr. Do you want to continue on that?
That'd be great. That's the easiest committee assignment I've had all year.
Okay. Kaiser Public Arts Commission, let me take a wild guess. Would you like to do that, Counselor Christopher?
I think we should hold off. It's currently a voting council member, and it doesn't impact the work that I know there's a meeting coming up. I think it's on the 25th of the month, but it will not impact that. So just for purposes of, let's know what we're appointing to. And so yes, I'll absolutely take it, Mayor, but I would prefer to wait on that one as well.
I understand, but at least we can put a pin in it, that's yours.
Okay.
So I understand what you're saying. We have to work with what is, and again, we have asked staff to come back with so we can take this up. What didn't make it onto tonight's agenda to make that change. I'm looking at Mr. Lindsay.
Yeah, if this council wants to make sure that that's in that packet for that goals and committee review session on February 10th, I easily make that in that. Meaning the CDEC,
Changes?
Yeah,
I don't think you should make the changes till we get to the work session.
Well,
Oh,
we
in here.
we
To make the
already,
changes.
we've already given directions to staff last meeting. We already
add
Make them
that to,
non-voting.
yeah, we have those two coming back, and I believe it's gonna be February 3rd to make those, to
Oh.
deliberate on making those changes. We asked for those two already. So those are in the works.
Okay.
Yeah, we've already taken that where it's gonna be on a council agenda to make that change. So do you want to be appointed after that?
Yeah, but
Okay.
in
I'm putting
addition
a
to
pin
that-
on it anyway.
But in addition to that, I mean, yes, we know those changes are gonna happen.
Right.
But what are the other changes?
Those are the two we've asked for.
I know,
And the third one was the Personnel Policy Committee.
so we'll do it all twice.
So, no, because those are be taken care of, and then we can do the review on, February 10th. Unless you'd rather wait on all of that till February 10th, but I don't see the
Really
point.
would.
Okay. In the meantime, we've already asked for staff to come back with us to make that change to the Public Arts Commission, because I don't think anybody objects to that. Okay. Parks, Parsons. I don't see a arm wrestling for that. Planning, I don't think we're giving him a choice.
Right,
I think it's Duran. Traffic Safety Bike Ped. I said
Mayor, I'd like to do that one.
okay. All right. Volunteer coordinating. I believe that goes to Kohler.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to take Traffic Safety Bike Ped. That was my number one, but, yeah, if you want to take it, go ahead. Budget, sorry, it's everybody. That's an all skate. Ditto for the Long Range Planning Task Force. It's an all skate. Audit. The ones who said they wanted to do it were Star, Cross, and Duran with alternate Parsons. And then I also have two budget committee members who have said they would like to be the two citizen members, and that's Elaine Wilson and Melissa Martin. They both agreed to do that.
great.
Okay, so it'd be Star, Cross, Duran, and we have an alternate because work happens, so that Counselor Parsons can get this into her agenda, into her calendar, just in case. And that would be Elaine and Melissa. Okay. Neighborhood associations, Star and Duran, both, to share on West Kaiser. Christopher for Gubser. Kohler for Southeast Kaiser. Parsons for Northwest, and Cross for Northeast. And, in our conversations, Counselor Cross had a really good idea that, in the event you can't be there, that would be the float.
Great.
I like that idea.
I do too.
Yeah.
I like that idea a lot.
That was a really good idea. But I have to, yes,
So you're the floater?
yes. I'd be the float,
Great.
yeah,
I like it.
yeah. So if you're not gonna be there, let me know. It'll give me an opportunity to, be at as many of those as I can.
Great.
And just to clarify, Madam Mayor, we're all able to attend them, right?
Right.
We're aware.
I'm just clarifying that we're all, if
Yeah.
Marlene wanted to go to Gubser, right? Okay,
Yeah.
just checking.
Yeah, we can absolutely attend, but having somebody assigned, make sure that it's on your calendar. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I live and die by that.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the inside. Did I,
Madam Mayor, could you read those last ones off? I'm sorry, I
Sure.
wasn't able to get them all.
West Kaiser, Star and Duran. Greater Gubser, Christopher.
Yeah.
Southeast Kaiser, Kohler. Northwest, Parsons. Greater Northeast, Cross.
Thank you.
Okay? That's all did we miss anything on the city ones?
No.
Mr. Lindsay?
The rules just changed and there is a vice president position. Is that something that you would
we
choose
need to vote
for
in.
the inside?
I move to nominate Counselor Cross.
I'll second that.
This field, as a point of order, we're working through this. Can we do that once we conclude this process?
Okay, and
You
I.
brought it up, so I thought I'd make
Yeah,
the motion.
and I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
Yeah, you're the
jump anything, I'm just, I figured that was an inside position that usually this process covers.
Okay, whatever.
Okay. Okay, outside committees, Cloud Creek Watershed Council. So we have the ones that are non-voting liaisons, and they are by invitation of those organizations. And then we have the ones that are contractual, either by a membership or, in the case of the Heritage, it is by the lease.
Yep.
So Clyde Creek Watershed Council, I would like to do that.
Done. Thank you.
My pleasure. Kaiser Community Library Board of Directors.
Star.
And that is, Star. And I think we're still getting, we asked for clarification on that scope, since originally it seemed it was tagged to the ARPA, so we want to make sure that it is no longer tagged to having specifically received funds, but to be a liaison. Is that correct?
They invited us in, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought so.
Well, originally it was
Yeah.
linked to that, but
But
now.
then they invited us back
Yeah.
in, even though ARPA is done.
That's correct. So I want that clarification. Kaiser Heritage Foundation is Christopher. Kaiser United, again, there's been an invitation to be part of that. And of course, that's an all-skate anyway. And that's Counselor Parsons would like to do that.
Parsons? Okay.
COG Board of Directors, we had, Cross, Duran, Parsons, Clark. We had 4 that were interested in that.
That's just one of the ones. I mean, really,
I'm not interested.
and I'm just saying, I mean, I know my number 1 was homeless. That was number 2, and then that one was number 3, and that was that.
Right, we both had the same number 1 with, on this section, which was the
Yeah.
Homeless Alliance Board. So, the COG Board,
Who is it? It's Parsons, you? Cross-
Parsons, me, Cross, Duran. I'll put it down.
Yeah.
Huh? You don't want it?
And neither does Parsons.
I'll take it then.
You got it.
All right. Continue there. Okay. The Mid-Willamette Valley Economic Partnership Board, currently that's, Counselor Duran. Any objection to him continuing in that role?
Are you on that now?
Okay.
Does he want to?
Do you object?
Yes.
I would, because you're taking transportation.
Right, if I'm taking scats and
I
stuff,
can
I'm-
take
I'm
that.
happy to do
Okay.
some of this.
That was, way to advocate for yourself. What a strong position.
So who's doing it?
Star.
Star.
Okay, Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance Board, ORS 190 Board. This was number 1 for both Counselors Cross and myself.
How long have you been on it, Mayor?
I was one of the founders, so in 2016, and then when we became an ORS 190, and were recognized by HUD in 2019. So I was chair for a couple of years. And right now, we're in transition with going to, we have an interim, bringing on an interim director and redoing the charter to take a fresh look.
How about if we put, what's her name?
My name's Sarita.
I don't know, have you met?
I wonder, how about if we put Cross on there with you as the alternate, so that we start to build that bench depth?
That's a good idea.
Well, I was
Sarita.
definitely want to have definitely have an alternate. This is something that I felt very strongly about working together to bring this forward, but I feel very strongly about remaining, the, voting delegate with, Counselor Cross as the alternate.
Well, and I feel strongly about being given a chance because you have been on there for 9 years and I
6.
am, well, since 2016.
Well, it was, the continuum of care was established in 2019.
Okay.
It just
and
turned 5.
It just kind of
It just turned
grew
5 years
up
old.
and formed into another. So I feel strongly about the fact that new eyes. I mean, I feel strongly about that. So I'll let the council vote on that. I'm okay with whatever they decide.
Okay.
Counselor Kohler?
So are you suggesting that you both attend for a while? Is that what you're thinking?
But I want to be the voting member.
And then we definitely have to have a listed alternate. So what happens is that if there's an absence and so forth, we've got to make sure that we have a voting member. This is there's two pieces to it, for folks who want to follow along. There's the Alliance Board, where we have one vote. And then because we're a government, we're a member of the ORS 190, which is the one that does the contracts and actually executes the agreements for the organization, but under the direction of the Alliance Board. So that's why there's two things there, and we can actually have two people, one doing one doing the other. One can be the Alliance voting member, the other one can be the ORS 190 voting member.
Was that
And-
ever an option before?
Yeah,
I don't remember hearing
There's
that.
there's only one, I'm sorry, there's two parts, but only one part is the voting?
they're both voting.
They're both voting.
But one is the Alliance Board, which sets the policy, direction, strategic planning and so forth. And the one that executes the contracts has the authority to do so. That's why it lists this ORS 190. That is the one that has the authority to act on behalf of the board to do contracts, to do the agreements, yeah, on behalf of the ORS 190, the Alliance.
So did you understand that, Counselor?
Cross, yeah.
You did or two?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I get it. I mean, just
Okay.
like, right
didn't
now
know
I'm
that.
the interim
Did you?
president for Marion and Polk counties for the YMCA. I understand how, and Silverton too. So I get how, I'm strong. with My nonprofit stuff.
Yes, you are.
Very strong.
Okay.
So we have there are two places where we have a vote. And then there's also the opportunity to serve on the executive committee, which is an additional meeting, but that's for agenda setting and so forth, which is pretty typical.
And the great thing is that the company I work for is supportive of all that.
It's what?
It's supportive of all that because we work. It's
Microphone,
we are in downtown Salem and we are affected.
Wait, what?
We are affected by what's going on with the people without housing,
Okay,
so.
okay, okay.
So the business, so.
I got it.
It's not like I can't leave work to go to these meetings. I'm supported.
Okay.
I'm good. I say we bring in, it seems like if you're doing a reset and you're relooking at the charter and you're kind of doing I guess really a reset and a review, I think now's a good time to bring in an outside perspective on that. On both of them, the Alliance Board and the 190. You've served in both of them since, as you mentioned, since 2016. So I say we give Councilor Cross the opportunity to serve on both of them as well. Bring in just give like you said, a fresh perspective. And so I think this is a good opportunity to do that.
So I have a question.
Counselor Parsons?
So we get one vote.
Two.
No, we get one on one and one on the other.
Oh,
correct.
Okay. Shouldn't they have to agree on the vote?
That's why you put the same person.
Right, if you put a second person in there, there's two of you, then you have to agree on the vote, but if the agenda comes before us, then we still get that ultimate vote, right? I mean, I don't know. I've not been on that committee. I don't know. I'm just asking the question.
Well, one of the things that happens as we send people, to these different committees and so forth, we are delegating that person to be able to vote on our behalf. So Councilor Christopher going to Heritage, when I was in that position, I was speaking on behalf of the city in that space when, and yes, in 18 years on SCATS, there's a vote that you disagree with. I get that. But I think to the bigger point is that when we do delegate someone to this position, they have that position, they have that voting position. We receive those agendas. We can all review them. And we can, if we have something that's coming up that we are concerned about, absolutely discuss it. But if we're going to tell our voting member that we need to have them hold off from any decision-making. They're not gonna be able to represent us in a timely fashion. These meetings are not happening under our timelines, they're happening under the timelines of the organizations. So I think that's something to consider, especially with the, unfortunately, with the Homeless Alliance, we tend to get the final agenda like 2 days before. It is a short turnaround, so more eyes on would be fantastic.
Give it to Saran, or Counselor Cross.
I mean, I really, you know, first of all, I thank you for 9 years as being on there, but I don't want to see us get into the same situation where you've been on transportation for 20 years. Certainly that wasn't the intent, that you would take that alone for 20 years. And I
Been
think.
trying for years.
And I think that's where we are. And I think we give Counselor Cross a try.
So we'll have to put this to a vote then?
I move to appoint Counselor Cross to serve as the voting member on the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance Board and the ORS 190 Entity Board.
And who's the alternate?
You.
And I will also add on to that Mayor Clark serve as the alternate for both the Homeless Alliance Board and the ORS 190 Entity Board.
Absolutely. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council appoint Counselor Cross to the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance Board and ORS 190 with Mayor Clark as the alternate. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. No. Motion passes 5-2. The noes are Clark and Parsons.
Okay.
All right. This will be Cross
Cross.
and
Okay.
Clark. Salem Wastewater Task Force. Somebody did a really good job.
We know who that is, Dan.
Any objection?
That was an interesting bunch of meetings, and it was good to be there with Tim, and it ended up being a lot of fun, but there were some hairy moments.
Yeah, but you managed to you really were paying attention to the process and got it done when it needed to happen.
That was so funny.
Yep. And just for the record, these meetings won't happen again until 26. Is that correct? They don't meet in they meet only in the even numbered years. So you get a break.
It was fun.
Okay. Well, I liked the look on your face when you got back going, yeah. Okay, so it goes to Kohler.
I think the most fun of that whole thing was there was a motion on the table, there was a second, and there were some people that tried to move that around because they didn't like it. Oh, let's do something else. And I said, excuse me, there is a motion on the table. If we're going to follow Robert's rules, we have to address this now before going on. Oh, yeah, we're following Robert's rules. I guess we have to do that. It's like, oh, how funny.
The joys of experience, right?
It was pleasure.
Okay. MWACT. So talking about MWACT and SCATs, I want to skip to SCATs, and that would be for Counselor Duran. And then to assist him, I'd like to be appointed as the alternate to, because Counselor Christopher, you did that for me.
I agree.
18 years ago, you set me up.
Yeah, I
Oh,
hated it.
yeah, you really set me up, actually. No, I've got to say, I've really enjoyed the work over these years, been able to learn a whole lot. And, but I've been trying for years to get an alternate that would then I could pass it to, and,
And you also have CFEC with Duran, right?
yeah, let's press pause on that, but yeah, that's a short-term thing, but
Oh, hang on. We can
that's
only vote.
temporary. But yeah, I'd pause. For SCATs, put on Duran, and I'll be the alternate to back you up.
Great.
All right. My question to you is, do you want to also take on MWACT or have me be the lead and then you be the alternate until you're ready to leap into that?
I think I'd rather just take the leap and just take that on and just be.
Okay.
But will you be the alt?
Yeah, I could be the alternate. They were, the reason I'm asking is because the long-term chair has retired, and they were hoping I would move into the chair position this year to help them in that transition. So I'm putting that out there. Ken Woods was the chair for a long time, and I worked with him. So That's the only reason that I would ask to be put in as well, non-voting because they don't vote. So.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Yeah, I think I'd like to just.
Just jump in?
Yep.
All right, we're jumping in.
Question?
Counselor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can the alternate still be there and be the chair as a non-voting, or would that not be possible?
I don't understand the question.
I doubt it. I
Well-
think the voting member's gonna be.
Designated.
No, it have to be
The alternate can be there.
oh, yeah.
But it's an open meeting, right?
Yeah.
It's always an open meeting, absolutely. They are broadcast, they're all on Zoom,
Thank you.
et cetera, so,
But if we get one vote and he's absent
Then I'm
and you
in.
go.
Then she goes.
Okay.
right. So, yeah, let's say we're both on the Zoom and you have to go on a construction site. Yeah, they're Zoom and in person. On SCATs, in person is really, really helpful. Just for the record. Okay, that finishes that. And then, just for the record, the ones that are listed below are, not ones that we appoint, these are ones that we volunteer for. And the only reason they are listed is that they are but for our position as an elected official.
Did we take one off of there?
We took 3 off because they were not but for the elected official. That if we leave office, they don't go, that,
And we
if
should
they
not-
don't go away.
And we should not vote on this, Kat.
No, this is only informational.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
Right.
great.
Informational only. Yeah, kind of like Mayor Trett, I didn't put my hand down fast enough, and I'm on the Mayor's Association Board, which is a lot of fun.
Great.
Okay, and then another thing I'd like to point out with the LOC policy committees, that every year we all get invited to apply for those. And I would encourage folks to do so.
Madam Mayor?
Oh, CFAC, thank you. Right now, this is partway through already, and that's, Counselors, Duran and myself working with Mr. Witham on that, and
Great,
we've seen 1 meeting so far.
go for it.
Nobody's gonna arm wrestle us for us?
I mean, we like Shane.
Oh, yeah, you all can come along. So we'll just continue that one.
Okay.
Okay. Did you guys get what you need? Okay. Motion to approve the,
Madam Mayor.
oh, there's a question.
The vice president role, did you want me
That's
to do that as a separate motion?
Separate, please. Yeah, that's not part of this.
Okay.
Okay. Just for the record, Counselor Christopher, I know you really don't want to do the appointment for public arts, but we have to,
I don't want to do it for CDEC either.
I understand that. My preference is, and I'm going to ask for the motion to include those because they have to go with what is, not what may be. And those are what may be, and we don't know what we can't presume the future. So we have to go with the resolutions as we have them at this time. But I understand your point, but I think we need to go with what is.
Okay.
Council President Starr, do you want to put the motion on the?
Wait.
Oh, question.
Does anybody want to take audit committee for me?
I'm already on it, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm already on.
Okay,
I said I would do it.
okay, Parsons is the alternate.
Kathy will do it.
She was the alternate?
No, Parsons is the alternate.
Oh, you're,
I was the alternate.
Yeah, it was Star Cross Duran with alternate Parsons.
Oh, okay, Star Crossed, okay,
Right, Star
so
Cross Duran,
why don't you
alternate.
flip? Why don't you be the alternate? Let her take it.
okay.
Do you want to do
If you're
that?
good- If you're good with that,
Yeah,
Okay.
fine.
Okay,
thank you.
all right. Thank you. Star Cross Parsons, alternate Duran.
Yeah. Here you go,
Okay.
you're half off.
And then with Elaine Wilson and Melissa
Martin.
Martin, thank you, as the 2 who will be 2 budget committee members on that as well.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, if you don't want to be listed as an alternate, we can get someone else.
No, I don't mind, I'm just thinking of the workload, so.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to take it as the alternate?
Yeah, if, I'm probably a little bit more available.
Crazy person?
Yeah, if you want, that would be fine.
I know you're coming into construction season
Oh,
and
that would be
you have to work
great.
sometimes.
I would love that.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
All right, so now who's the alternate?
okay.
Kathy.
I will.
Mayor.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
I have
better.
so many little thingies here.
Well,
Paper's a mess.
you see, that's why I do things in pencil. Okay, Starcross, Parsons, alternate, Clark.
Yep, that's good. That was
Okay.
smarter.
Okay. Any questions?
Just that Melissa will probably send us this updated, maybe?
Yeah,
She's-
she'll fill them in. Yeah.
Ms. Bissett is very organized, so yes, we'll get this all in writing. Council President Starr.
I move that the Kaiser City Council adopt the committee assignments as discussed.
Second.
The committee assignments have been moved and seconded. Anything further? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Begrudgingly. Yes.
I don't think I
There's no
gave you
such
that
thing as
option.
that, Lori.
We used to like you.
All opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection. Even though we have objections, motion passes unanimously.
I move to nominate Counselor Cross as City Council Vice President.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Counselor Cross as the City Council Vice President. Any other nominations? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Here's your chance. Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Consent calendar. You know what? We don't have one.
Great.
Can I just read it?
Read the whole thing. Do you want to read it again?
Yes.
A second.
All right. Other business, this time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new or old matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. Mr. Brown, does city staff have any other business to bring forth at this time?
Madam Mayor and Council, we did have one question to bring up before the council that Public Works Director, Mr. Lawyer, will go ahead and talk about.
All right, Mr. Lawyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Received a request through email to add a stop sign at the intersection of, ready for this?
Yeah.
Adam Court, Brooks Avenue, Foreman Avenue, and Manbrin Drive. Okay?
Wait, what?
Yeah, yeah. Adam Court,
Yeah.
Brooks,
Yeah, they all come in.
Manbrin, Foreman. At that intersection,
Yeah.
Manbrin changes to Foreman. Okay? On the north side of the intersection is Adam Court. On the south side of the intersection is Brooks Avenue.
Brooks,
Okay?
yeah.
As the Public Works Director, I have the authority to place stop signs in the city as I see fit. We just have to update our list annually to make sure they're enforceable, okay? I'm not comfortable placing a stop sign in this location as requested without the recommendation of a traffic engineer, primarily because of the curve of the road, the visibility of the stop signs. I'm sorry, I just don't feel good about it. And so this is something that has not been planned for, certainly not budgeted for that engineering cost, probably gonna be $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to have them perform a study and give me a recommendation. I haven't quoted it, I haven't asked for an estimate, I'm using experience in those numbers, okay? Might be less than that, might be more than that, but that's a reasonable range. Just kind of looking for direction on where you would like me to go with this.
Well, first of all, I don't remember the recommendation coming from council, so where did this come from?
No, this was a request from a citizen.
Right.
Okay,
So
through an
you're bringing it to us to say if we want to direct you to go ahead with that. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's correct. I'm looking for guidance from the council.
Because we didn't get anything from the citizen as well. We have nothing. Mr. Brown?
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. It was just an email that was passed through that, you know, it is, and I think we've all driven it, right? And it is kind of a hairy place to do, you know, like I said, like Mr. Lawyer said, he could do it himself, but, he'd better off, I think we'd be better off served with, recommendation by the, traffic engineer.
Right, we don't have that email, we got nothing, so we don't, none of us know what you're talking about.
I'm looking for direction. Should I find $7,000 to $10,000 in the street fund to have the engineer perform this evaluation and give me a recommendation? That's what I'm asking for. Or do I
Counselor-
wait and budget for it in the next fiscal cycle? That's really the guidance I'm looking for, the direction I'm looking for.
Oh, okay, Council Christopher.
So I think I know where this came from. I think it came from one of the volunteers over at the Kaiser Cultural Center, but I don't believe that her intent was like, let's do this. I mean, I think that she wanted us to investigate and see if this made sense. And so my question is, shouldn't that have gone to traffic
Safety, bike ped.
Shouldn't it just start there and get their opinion on it before we go to,
No.
before we spend $7,000 on
No.
an engineer?
It does not, that's not the protocol in this instance because they are not experts in this evaluation process.
Good point.
Again, as the authority, as the city ordinance dictate, I have the authority as a public works director to place stop signs without any involvement by any committees or anything, okay? The neighborhood traffic management program, while stop signs are listed in their Appendix C, they are not identified in their tools in the toolbox for measures to be implemented. So that process doesn't apply, okay?
Gotcha.
Historically, when stop sign requests come up, I've addressed them just this very way. For instance, simple one, Eve Court, Apple Court, right there in that same stretch of Manbrin, okay? There's no stop signs there. Those are short cul-de-sacs. I think one of them, Eve Court, or Apple Court, has 4 houses on it. I could put a stop sign there. I wouldn't hesitate to put a stop sign there, okay? These are just examples.
Yeah.
But for the request that was made, I need a professional opinion. And that's why I'm looking for the guidance from if I thought I had the money in the budget, I'd just get it done.
Kind
I
of
would just
follow
take the steps and have it done. But given the fiscal position the street fund's in and the tightness, I want to make sure that I have council support and direction from the council to proceed with this study before I just go ahead and do it.
Council Christopher and then Councilor Duran.
Thanks. So, I mean, I'm kind of surprised that all it takes is a request and like we move forward. I'm surprised. So I would like a second opinion, and that's what you're talking about. The second opinion is going to cost us $7,000. Okay.
Actually, I would qualify that it's a professional opinion, not a second opinion.
Okay.
It's a professional opinion.
Yes.
Okay.
Councilor Duran.
Dang it.
So if I'm remembering this right, you have a stop sign at Brooks and a stop sign at Adam, so the Adam Court. So
Yes.
that would be, it'd turn that into a 4-way stop.
Correct.
Right.
That's correct.
That's probably.
And again,
In that short section.
my hesitation with taking action on this is the curvature of the roadways, the visibility of the stop sign,
Yeah.
it being a brand-new 4-way intersection, just a lot of concerns that I have. I'm not real comfortable about just making a decision on this one. And that's why I'm looking for a professional opinion, so.
Follow up?
So there's a lot of cars that park on that,
Yes.
in that stretch, so that would be a tough thing to see so I understand your thought. How many requests have you had over the years on this?
2 that I'm aware of. Okay, there was one, I want to say 2019, that was discussed at Traffic Safety Bikeways PED. I think it was 19, but that's the only other one besides this one that I'm aware of.
More
Follow
follow-up.
you.
How many accidents have we seen there?
I checked with the chief earlier. He said there's one recently, and that was during the parade, and it was a bicycle into the side of a car, and nothing more than that in the last 2 years.
In 2 years.
So,
Thank you.
Okay. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, as Councilor Duran noted, there's a lot of cars that are parking there. So, I think my question is, if we said yes to the engineering study, how would that even begin to address the car parking issue? Or is that like a separate issue that would have to be addressed separately before we do, or in addition to doing the engineering study?
The parking that is legal to park, it's allowed, okay?
I'm sorry, what was that?
It's legally
Okay,
parked
thank you.
cars, parking's allowed on both sides of that
Yeah.
street for the entire length, okay?
Yeah.
The recommendation or the evaluation by the engineer would consider the existing parking
Okay.
and could include a recommendation to eliminate parking for certain distances on either side of the stop signs, okay? Or not, okay? But that would be looked at as part of the evaluation of installing those two stop signs.
Counselor Cole, oh, go ahead, do you have a
And
follow-up?
one other thing I want to mention in this, in that short stretch, or in a short stretch of Manbrin there, we had a request recently to add a no parking sign on Manbrin at one of the courts there, and I don't remember if it was, I think it was Adam Court. And I have the authority within 50 feet of an intersection to place no parking signs. So I placed a no parking sign there. I kind of thought we were going to get some blowback from that, from the neighbors. Didn't hear a word. It increases safety of people pulling out of that cul-de-sac. They could see better for oncoming cars. So it solved a concern. Again, that's just a bad visibility stretch of the road. So, anyway.
Yeah. Mr. Brown, and I'll go to Counselor Kohler.
Yeah, Madam Mayor and Council, just, also, this isn't time sensitive. You don't have to make decisions tonight. It's something you want to think about.
Yeah.
In the next meeting, we're not under any hurry. So we just wanted to bring it for you. And you can kind of tell by all of your experience riding that road that you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, we've lived here. So before I go to Counselor Kohler, what the question I'm hearing is if Mr. Lawyer is going to make an informed decision on this, he wants engineering. Do we try to push it into this fiscal year or let him put into his plan for the next fiscal year? That's the decision point I'm hearing. Is that correct?
That's really the main decision point, yeah. So that's,
Right. So I think that when looking at the budget, because there was a real stretch to just eke out. I'm sorry? Well, we just used that, remember? We just allocated that.
Manhole.
That was the manhole. So that's what I was about to say.
I didn't hear him say
Oh, thank you.
expenses.
Yeah. Mr. Lawyer. And then I'll go to Counselor Kohler.
one of the other things, and I wanted to bring this up, is that I'm still holding on this fiscal year is the green paint that's not paying. Remember that $26,000 expense that we're holding on to see where the fiscal year ends?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
This is another one of those that folds into the availability of those funds. So
Right.
that's why, another reason I'm bringing it forward, for guidance.
Well, I think that, so that the decision point is whether we feel there's an urgency to push it to, say, really prioritize this year, or to leave it to your discretion on available funds to have it be in the next year. And Counselor Kohler, and then I'll circle back.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to say, Mr. Lawyer, I appreciate your ability to put a stop sign up on your own without a whole bunch of approvals. I know that I had a citizen come to me and you and I discussed a couple different places where a stop sign might be appropriate. You went and visited those places and you put stop signs up. So I appreciate your willingness to go and do and look and observe and make a logical decision for us without having to go through a whole bunch of studies to figure out to put a piece of wood in the ground and put a stop sign on it. So thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you.
So what I'm hearing here is that because this one's more complicated, and what I'm hearing from council, unless I'm hearing incorrectly, is that we'll leave it to your discretion on looking at the next fiscal year for the budget availability for this. Okay.
Thank you.
Did I misread anybody?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Brown, does staff have anything further?
No further items.
Thank you. I do have one I'd like to bring up. a number of us have recently been at Salem Chamber events, and I was talking with Jackie Roche, who's the new membership person, and she pointed out that Kaiser used to be a member of Salem Chamber, but their information was so old it had Lori's personal email address attached to it. It was that.
Everybody has it.
Yes. But they didn't even have your city one on there. I mean, it's been a while. So I was wondering if there's something that the city of Kaiser is interested in rejoining, since our economies are so tightly.
Totally think so.
The cost would be $3,000 for the level of membership that would be appropriate for a city our size, for an organization our size.
Hold on.
And
How
that,
come it's so much?
Welcome to Salem.
well, this,
I'm in support.
so, anyway, let me go over a little bit what this would do. So because of the size of our staff, it would be $3,000, but it would also include, the ability to go to more of the events that could then be.
Free?
No.
There are reserved seat at the Executive Leadership Council, one season ticket to the Forum Speaker Series, pair of tickets to the Business of the Year,
I
and then
didn't
if,
see that. They don't give me that.
and then, it probably goes to some of, anyway. And then if additional council members want to go, that would come out of our council line item, and we would be able to put in for that because we are a member, and that would be considered part of our scope of, So just like we do with the Kaiser Chamber, if we want to go to anything Kaiser Chamber related, because we're members, we get that benefit to be able to have the city pay for us to attend. We would also, and here's the additional benefit, it might turn into additional marketing opportunity for Lilly. Because it would also include, you could use their marketing, and we could put city services and so forth on the website and social media and so forth as a member.
Or does that cost extra too?
With them, at this level of membership.
Okay.
She could even host a greeters here.
Yes, host greeters, things like that, again, very similarly, so there's a bang for the buck that would also extend beyond, the council, but also city staff. And I believe that, also to be able to highlight what we're doing in terms of economic development in Kaiser. So I'm laying it out there. What do you think? Council President Starr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I'm gonna, my 2 cents, because we're coming up against 9 o'clock and our 3-hour maximum, is that we put this on the agenda for another meeting, and perhaps maybe staff could ask some additional questions. So the first one, when I listened to the amount because of the size of our staff, but then you were saying that it would apply to us on city council. Is there anything in the membership tier that would base the membership amount on the number of city council members versus the number of staff? Because it seems odd to me that we would pay based on our number of staff and then like we're the ones going. So that's a question that I think might be a good, something maybe to talk, maybe staff could work with and talk to the membership person at the Salem Chamber and then bring back a recommendation or something at the next meeting.
And in addition to that, and thank you, Councilor Cross, for helping me understand where that was going. This would be looking at least what I'm proposing is that the city of Kaiser be a member. So that would include staff, it's then based on the level of staff in the city, the employees.
But then our staff would be the ones getting the seat at the Executive Leadership Council, not us.
Well.
That's what I think should happen. I mean, in my opinion, like if it's based on our staff, I would think it would be our staff, one of our, like our city manager or our city attorney or Shane could go to,
Because he loves meetings.
yeah, or
Yeah,
the
he wants
chief
more
of police.
meetings.
I think the Executive Leadership Council spot should be one of our leadership team members. And it be applied to staff going and not for us. That's my 2 cents, but I would still love to see a report come back maybe at next meeting to take action.
We could always do more.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So, Yes, and Councilor Cross pointed out, invite Jackie Roche. She's the membership person to come and talk to us about that at the next meeting. Everybody good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. The other one is a minor change. I think we may have already done it. So up until this year, we've been doing Latino Business Alliance, where we've been assigning a couple of city councilors to attend. We were doing this because we used to have a conflict between the Marion County Commissioner Breakfast and the Latino Business Alliance were at the same time. Well, the Marion County Commissioner Breakfast were discontinued about 3 years ago. So is everybody good with just putting it on to our This Week and Next? And if you want to go, go.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right, that was easy. All right, let's go then to staff up, Counselor Duran.
He has other business.
You have another business. All right.
So this is something that has been talked about since Kaiser Fest last year, is filling in the swale at Kaiser Rapids Park. And I was under the impression that the dirt at the Volcano Stadium was intended to move there at some point, and I'd like to talk about doing that sooner rather than later. So, like, as soon as we possibly could, so it could be in there, and I would like to see about getting it put in, at least in, I don't know, maybe the whole thing as structured fill.
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Brown.
Yeah, we wanted to move on that really fast. In fact, I think we had an RFP close to ready to do it, to get a bid on moving it. And then the alternative about the master plan amendment came up, and idea of maybe putting a facility there gave us pause because that material isn't suitable for structural on top. I've since then learned that we could layer that fill with structural, which is going to increase the cost significantly. But that's, I think, our alternative is, I don't think we have a good idea of how much that would affect the cost, but
You do have a good
it
idea?
would. I don't.
You don't?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see what that cost is, just before we do it, but I'd like to look into that is what I'm asking is.
Yeah. Okay.
Before it gets going.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you already have an RFP that you've already been working on with this concept?
Yes, but it's based on using the fill without structural fill. Yeah.
Okay, so it wouldn't be structurally able, that would be assuming that we were going to put a structure in that particular space, which may or may not happen.
Right.
Okay. Counselor Christopher.
That's my question. So by doing that, if we do go with the structural fill, then my understanding from Kyle is that a structural fill makes it the same as native fill, so then we could do anything we want at any time we want, if it's done that way. Without that, if we just put dirt there and then decide later that we're going to do something in that area, we have to dig that, we have to do it anyway.
We have to dig down.
We're gonna have to do it anyway and put in structural fill, so why not do it, am I right?
Hang on.
Okay, but is
Hang
that,
on.
in concept, is that correct?
I think you are, but let me
Let's-
defer to Mr. Lawyer for.
Thank you, Adam. The issue with the fill is the material in Kaiser Station, primarily on the Rollins property, we believe consists primarily of strippings, meaning the top.
Sandy loam.
No, means full of organics. The roots and the grasses and the weeds that were there. That material is not suitable to build structural fill with.
Oh.
It's just not suitable. Oh. So in order to determine if it's suitable and how much of it is suitable, we got to go move a bunch of dirt to even make the determination.
Okay.
But my understanding from everything I've been told from them and what I watched at Kaiser Station, the bulk of that material is strippings that were moved 3 times by Kerr contractors that were really, really good at moving dirt. They could move a lot of dirt really fast from one place to the other. And they moved the same dirt a bunch of times. The good dirt they used, the good dirt that was meant for structural fill or could be used for structural fill was used up.
I mean,
So, I
Makes
mean,
sense.
there's a chance that it could be used, but all the information I'm given and what I'm told and what I know from what I saw is it's highly unlikely it can be used as structural fill.
So then how do you determine?
We dig into it, find out what's in there,
Okay,
spend the money to dig into it and having it evaluated.
okay.
So what might be tell you what, would you bring back that information February 3rd? I know there's an urgency, but we're not going to be able to figure that out tonight. Bring us back that information so that, and what the proposal is, and what your recommendations are, and then what you need from us. Counselor Duran.
Yeah, so I just did some quick math, and if we put all that dirt in there, and we have to take out dirt for a building that we're talking about, what are we talking, 25,000 square feet or something on a building right now, is something that we've thrown around. So that's 4,600 cubic yards of dirt that would have to be moved again. I don't know if that, yeah, that's a lot. So I'm just doing some math.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So, yeah, it would be good for somebody to do the math just on what the generalizations of what we're looking at are, so that we can have some numbers for, if we do, it may pay to move it twice. It may pay to move it in there because we don't have any plans in the near future. I mean, it could be 5 years down the road. It could be 10. It could be 10. So, but I think we want to try and look at moving the dirt sooner rather than later, and then having those numbers. If we do have to move it just in one spot, maybe a third or a quarter of what we move may have to get moved again. It'd be nice to just have some numbers. And I don't have a problem with helping develop those numbers if we need to. I'll work it up, but it would be good to just go through what we're looking at and how much dirt we think we have and how much dirt we think we need to place.
And that's part of the challenge, is finding out how much dirt we think we have.
Right.
Because there's not a good way to do that.
Nobody's surveyed that, nobody's done
Not been
anything
surveyed. I've asked for some LiDAR work. They can't see through the brush, so we got to cut the brush to do LiDAR work. What methods, Adam and I've been talking about that just the last few days. How are we going to approach this? Are we going to spend the money to mow it so we can do the LiDAR work? We've had these discussions and
Oh, so easy to mow.
And then there's that too.
I'm happy to help out if you need it.
I need to go to Counselor Kohler because he hasn't had a chance, and I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On the proposal that you were looking at to move dirt, are you talking about the dirt under the power lines or the dirt that they recently moved where the hotel's going?
We're talking about the Rollins property on the west side of Volcano Stadium.
Yeah.
And it also.
Under the power lines.
Yes, the power lines. Short answer.
So what
But
about-
it also served not just to help us out at Kaiser Rapids Park, but also to make that property more
Appealing.
I understand that, but would the other dirt be better? And do we have access to it?
That's not our dirt. We don't own that property. Counselor Kohler, we don't own that property you're talking about. That's the Confederated Tribes, the Grand Run and the Silet's property and their project. Could the dirt go there? Possibly. We can talk to them, see what they plan to do to get rid of it.
I know that we don't own that property, but if the dirt is there, would we have access to it if it's something that we could use?
Possibly. Ask the question. Yeah, certainly ask the question.
Right. Asking's free, right? So anyway, if you want to pursue alternatives and so forth to see what might be available as well to give us some options. And thank you for bringing that up. Did you have anything further, Counselor Christopher?
No.
You took care of it. All right. We're at the 9 o'clock hour, so all we have left is our staff updates, council member reports, and agenda input. We need a motion to continue to finish those items.
So moved for 15 minutes.
Second.
Moved and seconded to take an additional 15 minutes to complete the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. Staff updates. Is that it for other business?
Yeah.
Okay. Staff updates. So I start with Mr. Cleaver.
No updates from HR?
All right.
No updates.
There we go.
Mr. Wood?
Nothing
Ms.
tonight.
Bissett? Chief?
Nothing.
Mr. Lawyer?
Almost nothing. One thing real quick. Cold weather. Don't forget about your friends and neighbors that might need some assistance while it's going to be really cold at night for another week and a half.
Yep. Yep. And also your water pipes, make sure you get those suckers covered because we don't want to send the city crews out to deal with it. So, yep. Mr. Witham?
We'll make it in the 15 minutes, I'm positive.
Mr. Lindsay?
Shoot. No, I was going to bring up one item, and this is just a reminder because initially when the library question came up before about funding, we were going to bring it up at the goal setting session and because the promise earlier was we're going to bring it up in January. So this is our last January meeting, so I wanted to make sure that the library funding has not been forgotten and that it will be available, that information for a conversation, probably at the next goal setting. But I just want to honor when I say we'll bring it back in January to do that.
Appreciate that, and I might have alluded to that at the board meeting, that we might be looking at February.
Okay,
So,
perfect. Thank
yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Council member reports. Councilor Joanne?
Nothing.
Councilor Christopher?
One quickie, and that is, we are doing oral histories, and the next one up is Bill Lawyer, who's been with the city for 30 years. And so our Kaiser Heritage Foundation President, Robert Becker, will be working with him on a number of different issues. We've got to grab his memory before it goes away. Either way, Bill, either way. whether you
Via
just lose your-
retirement is what you meant.
I did.
All right.
I have nothing. It was a busy week, but I have nothing.
Councilor Cross?
Well, yeah, it was a busy week. It was nice to see the new Salem City Councilors and Julie Hoy get sworn in. Salem Chamber Ag Banquet was fun, and of course, seeing Councilor Parsons receive the first citizen.
Yes, bravo.
So bravo.
We have royalty.
Yeah, I get her clock. Oh, and then tomorrow night, Valor Mentoring, I think they sold out of teams. They're having their annual knockdown lift up event. And that's the fun of it that I will be at. Go down to sport.
Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll go quickly. The Music Lesson Project luncheon, I attended that with several other people. I think that's a good project to support. I want to thank City Manager Adam Brown for attending the Kaiser United while I was working during their meeting time. Thank you for doing that. I did attend Clyde Creek Watershed Council this last month, and they had a new board and a new chair, et cetera. And of course, March 13th, the Civic Center cleanup. I also attended Salem Southeast Kaiser Neighborhood Association. They had some after-school fights, and I want to say thank you to Chief Copeland for taking time and visiting with that. And we're working on some things with that. So again, thank you very much. And then attended the Parks Board meeting, and we talked about a number of different things, which we've already heard about. The Kaiser First Citizen, tomorrow is the Kaiser Community Dinner. So please come to that. And on the 25th, a special announcement, 3 o'clock at John Knox Presbyterian Church. I know a young man that is giving a recital, and that's just at 3 o'clock. It's a free recital. John Knox Presbyterian Church, 3 o'clock on the 25th. Happens to be my son. It's all the music he's prepared for his doctrinal auditions. Be a good concert. Be about an hour of music, and there'll be treats.
All right. A treat for the ears and also for enjoyment. All right. Thank you very much, Councilor Parsons. First Citizen Parsons.
I have nothing, thank you. I did enjoy Saturday night, but I was a little mad that everybody lied to me, but we're all good now.
You're kind of over that now?
No.
Okay, the Academy Award for the best performance in getting Grandma There goes to Reagan, your granddaughter. She was a past master. Well,
She asked me what gift I was gonna give her for doing that.
okay, props. Okay. Just a couple of things. Congratulations to Lupitz on the ribbon cutting. That's a third generation business out in Brooks. And it's exciting to see new businesses come, and it's really exciting to see businesses continue to thrive into second and third generations. Congratulations. On the 8th, I did my monthly broadcast at KBZY Radio. I really appreciate them offering that opportunity for myself and the mayor of Salem to be on their channel every month. Kaiser Network of Women continues to be a great place to network, and I'm glad that we get to do that as part of being city council members and the city being a member of the Kaiser Chamber. I got to speak to the Whitaker Middle School classrooms, the AVIS students as advancement via individual determination. 6th, 7th, 8th graders, they had great questions, and I always enjoy hearing how they are curious about their own communities and how they can make a difference, and often are encouraged that they are already getting into action with pride, spirit, and volunteerism. I was delighted to be included in the Chamber Forum on the 13th, along with then Mayor-elect, now Mayor Hoy, Commissioner Bethel, and Commissioner Pope. So appreciate Kaiser being included in that. Coming up, we heard about community dinner. We're not going to have are we having a personal policy committee meeting? That got canceled, right? Okay. Taking that off. City Day at the Capitol is on the 28th. That's League of Oregon Cities, and I believe, who all signed up for that? League of, the City Day.
I can only do the reception.
You'll be at there the evening, and then Councilors Kohler and Parsons, and you're, okay. Oh, everybody but, okay, Pinky Week.
Pinky Week.
Gotcha. So looking forward to that. That's going to be a great, I love it that you're all going to be there. Truly Kaiser shows up and tells the legislature how things should be. Way to go. I've got the OMA board on the 29th, and then that's pretty much it. Agenda input. So for our upcoming meetings, we have February 3rd at 6 p.m. Work session to actually do the goal setting. That will also include looking at our committees, and we'll also look at the list of proclamations, the annual proclamation list, see if we want to make any changes to that. I really appreciate, as I said on Saturday, just having a list so we know what to work from. Tuesday, February 18th, we'll meet at 6 p.m. in regular session, and then Monday, February 24th, we will have our long-range planning task force. So mark your calendar for that. Any other agenda input? Okay. That is everything I've got. The time is 9:11 and we are adjourned.